Chapter 361. The battle was very intense. Ning Shu saw that, following the breeze, had such a powerful and cool equipment. He did not know if this equipment was obtained by him or if it was bought with money. Ning Shu saw that the 8-clawed poisonous spider could not hold on any longer and had already released countless small spiders, densely attacking, following the breeze. The sword in, following the breeze, S hand drew a line of fire dragons, exterminating these small spiders. At the same time, these small spiders were all turned into gold coins and were kept by, following the breeze. It looked like, following the breeze, really wanted to conquer this intermediate level dungeon. Ning Shu took a deep breath and looked at the 8-clawed poisonous spider that was about to be defeated. He wanted to use the shitty coding skills that he had just learned to change the 8-clawed poisonous spider's command code, giving this large spider the ability to heal itself. The large spider was now a series of codes in Ning Shu's eyes. Ning Shu had only adjusted the position of 2 of the characters. After adjusting the characters, Ning Shu looked forward to seeing the large spider heal itself. But what Ning Shu did not expect was that the large spider did not have the ability to heal itself. Instead, it became even bigger than before. It was about the size of a room and looked even more ferocious. Ning Shu was speechless. Could it be that she had adjusted the position wrongly? Following the breeze, was even more speechless than Ning Shu. Seeing that this strange eye was about to be destroyed by him, it suddenly showed its might and became so big. It simply made people's eyes fall out. Following the breeze, shook his head. The sword in his hand was obtained with great difficulty. It was a fire attribute sword. After obtaining this equipment, he came to this place where he had been humiliated many times. He did not know what he was thinking, but, following the breeze, was determined to conquer this dungeon. This feeling was very strong, so he came after obtaining this equipment. In the end, he still did not succeed. Following the breeze, turned around and left the valley. Ning Shu saw that, following the breeze, did not continue to fight and left. He ran out of the valley and waited for, following the breeze, at the entrance of the valley. When Ning Shu saw that he had come out, he covered his mouth and giggled. This made following the breeze's expression very ugly. He said that he had not completed the mission and turned to leave. After Cool Breeze left, Ning Shu hurriedly entered the valley. Looking at the huge spider, Ning Shu wanted to restore it to its original appearance. If the command code was too abnormal, it would be discovered by the main game system. Then, Ning Shu didn't even know what rune she had just changed. Now, he was at a loss. As a last resort, Ning Shu could only ask for help. 2333 system, where was I changing the code just now? 2333, with your level of skill, don't come out and show off. If you get popular, you'll get killed by the game developers. 2333 pointed out the position of the characters in the code. Ning Shu felt that he was stupid. He turned to 2333 and asked, is there any wisdom pill that can be consumed by humans in the system store? I can exchange for some in the future. I'm sorry, there are only wisdom pills for animals. 2333 said faintly, every mission has a reward of attribute points. Just add the attribute points to your wisdom. Only when you use your brain do you realize how stupid you are. 2333 said disdainfully. Ning Shu changed the position of the characters in the code. Then, the house-sized spider returned to its original appearance. Ning Shu let out a sigh of relief. Ning Shu continued to study the code. Everything around him was made of code. Changing a character in the code turned a blade of grass into a tree. This feeling was too magical. On the other hand, following the breeze felt that something was wrong. The game guide did not mention that the spider would become bigger. Moreover, he had already seen that the spider had almost no health left. Following the breeze returned to the main city and informed his friends to form a group to clear this small valley. If they couldn't even clear this small valley, how could they dominate the game? Thus, when everyone had arrived, following the breeze came to the valley again. Ning Shu threw away the tree branch in the book. He raised his eyebrows and looked at Following the Breeze, who had left and returned. Following the Breeze's group had become stronger. Another ID was added. She was a priest and was the group's healer. This ID was really fitting. A burly man called a Chrysanthemum Blossoms southward greeted Ning Shu. "Hi beautiful lady, we meet again. It's a pity that such a beauty is only an NPC." Ning Shu covered her ankle and said pitifully, "Hero, I've sprained my ankle. Can you help me go to the valley and find a herb called immortal aconite grass? I'll definitely repay you generously." Who knew how many times she had to say this sentence every day? Every time she met a player, she would say it. A Chrysanthemum Blossoms southward shook his head. "It's a pity for such a beauty." Wind blows my balls cold agreed. How good would it be if she was a beautiful player? As he said that, he touched Following the Breeze. "Don't you think so, boss? Boss always comes to do this quest. I even suspect that boss has fallen in love with this NPC." A strong monster you go first also laughed out loud. Ning Shu was speechless. If it really was a senseless NPC, it would be fine if you guys teased her like this. Fuck, this NPC in front of you can hear you. This was the first time in his life that he had been teased. Ning Shu really wanted to kick their crotch. However, a long vine suddenly grew out of the leg of a strong monster you go first and tied him up. Everyone was at a loss for a moment, but Following the Breeze still cut off the vine. After cutting off the vine, Following the Breeze received a gold coin. A strong monster you go first immediately jumped up and asked, "Fuck, did you guys see the vine attack me just now? There wasn't this damn thing last time. How come there is this time?" A strong monster you go first looked around vigilantly. Following the Breeze frowned. He felt that it was very strange. "Boss, are we still going to accept this quest?" A big breasts big boss asked. Following the Breeze asked, "Can you explain what happened just now? This kind of thing didn't happen in other dungeons. Why was there always so much trouble here?" Following the Breeze looked at the beautiful NPC in front of him. He felt that this NPC was really different from the other dull NPCs. Could it be that this valley wasn't an intermediate dungeon, but an ultimate dungeon? Ning Shu smiled politely and said, "In the game world, any kind of danger can happen. It's just that you didn't trigger the storyline. If you did, there would be dungeons everywhere." Following the Breeze's eyes lit up. He asked Ning Shu again, "Is there a hidden dungeon in this valley?" "I'll fucking tell you." Ning Shu said faintly, "Please trigger the storyline on your own." Chapter 362. Following the Breeze originally wanted to ask something from this NPC. His intuition told him that this NPC might know something. But the NPC refused to tell him, causing Following the Breeze to feel anxious. There was clearly something in front of his eyes, but he just couldn't grasp it. This feeling was very unbearable. His companions all stared at Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze nodded and accepted the quest. The group of people then went into the valley. Ning Shu followed behind them into the valley and saw that they were working together seamlessly. Ning Shu smiled indifferently. Following the Breeze warned his companions, "Be careful, this thing will become very big." So everyone was looking forward to this spider becoming bigger, but they immediately discovered that this spider's defense was very strong. Many attacks landed on its body, but the spider's health did not decrease at all. There was no damage done to it at all. The most baffling one was Following the Breeze, because the last time he used his equipment, he was still able to leave a mark on the 8-clawed poison spider's body and even cause it to rot. But now there was no reaction at all. There was simply no way to fight. Seeing the 8-clawed poison spider release a large number of small spiders, Following the Breeze used the sword in his hand to release a fire dragon, burning these small spiders to ashes. He then said to the others, "Let's go, we're not fighting anymore. We're leaving first." Ning Shu stood at the entrance of the valley and waited for the passers-by, asking, Hero, why haven't you guys succeeded yet? This little girl's foot hurts. Following the breeze simply did not know what to say. Why was this dungeon so hard to fight? It was simply too hard to kill. Every time he came, it was different. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, Ning Shu said, beautiful girl, just bear with it a little more. Next time we'll definitely succeed. As he said that, he even wanted to stretch out his hand to touch Ning Shu. This NPC looked so real, he didn't know how to feel. Ning Shu was speechless. Even teasing an NPC, could you be any better at playing? You want to tease me? Trigger a level 1 storyline. Ning Shu said coldly. This was originally a pre-designed storyline. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south stared at Ning Shu in astonishment. Ning Shu pitifully said to the other 4 players, heroes, save me. I'm weak, and now I've met a bully who wants to take me. I have nothing to repay her, so I'll give her my rainbow feather and 2 bottles of vitality-raising pills. Heroes, please save me. A chrysanthemum facing south almost jumped up. He was clearly a player, but now he had become a monster. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, hurriedly waved his hands when he saw that his companions were up to no good. I'm a player, I'm not trying to flirt with her. Teasing an NPC was simply too embarrassing. I'm sorry, chrysanthemum. Who asked you to be so valuable? The rainbow feather is a material for creating divine artifacts. This is something that has been delivered to my doorstep. It would be a waste to reject it. Fuck, you guys can't be so heartless, forgetting your friends when you see profit. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, was attacked by a swarm of 3 players. As the leader of the party, blown by the wind, could not attack his own teammates. He just watched from the side and looked at Ning Shu with a complicated expression. In the end, a chrysanthemum blossoms was attacked until he lost a level, and the quest was considered complete. Ning Shu looked at the bruised and battered chrysanthemum blossoms to the south. The system gave him the rainbow feather and 2 bottles of vitality-raising pills. Ning Shu was very happy in his heart, and said with a happy face, thank you, heroes, for getting rid of the bully and allowing me to escape from the evil clutches. When a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south heard Ning Shu's words, his face twitched. After, blown by the wind, and the others left, Ning Shu went back to the valley to adjust the code of the big spider. Then, Ning Shu began to crazily learn how to code. Who knew, he might be able to leave his identity as an NPC. Although 2333's conduct was very unpleasant, he was really very knowledgeable. It wasn't that knowledgeable, but it was more like he had all sorts of things in his knowledge base. When he needed them, 2333 would be able to pull them out. Ning Shu used a tree branch to constantly write on the ground, constantly learning. However, this dungeon was finally conquered by someone. It was a male player with the ID, This King is Mighty. The World Channel released a message, congratulating This King is Mighty for conquering the Spider Valley dungeon. When, blown by the wind, heard this news, he was shocked. The dungeon was so difficult, but this player named This King is Mighty had actually conquered it. Furthermore, he had done it alone. Blown by the wind, went to find This King is Mighty, but he saw that This King is Mighty's level was lower than his own. His stats were inferior to him in all aspects. They had formed a group to farm the monster, but they had not succeeded. However, This King is Mighty had succeeded alone. Blown by the wind, communicated with This King is Mighty, and when he heard This King is Mighty say that the big spider did not have the ability to grow bigger, nor did it have a strong defense, it made, blown by the wind, even more confused. Why was it that when he went to farm the monster, the big spider was so strong, but why was it so easy for him? Blown by the wind felt that he had followed the game's guidelines correctly, but, blown by the wind, also knew that there was no need for them to target him. With This King is Mighty's success, there were also people who succeeded in conquering this dungeon. This made, blown by the wind, even more dissatisfied. At the same time, he felt that he had lost something. He had always valued this dungeon, and wanted to be the first to conquer this dungeon. This was an indescribable feeling. In order to verify his thoughts, blown by the wind, went to the valley again. He wanted to see if the spider was so easy to farm. If it was so easy, he would have taken down this dungeon long ago. When Ning Shu saw, blown by the wind, he curled his lips, knowing that he would come. Blown by the wind succeeded, easily killing the big spider, and plucking the immortal grass, but it made his expression very ugly. How could it be so easy? Did the game's developers change the difficulty? Ning Shu looked at the angry, blown by the wind, coming out to turn in the quest, and suppressed the joy in his heart, then watched, blown by the wind, leave. This was done on purpose by Ning Shu. Every time, blown by the wind, came to the dungeon, Ning Shu would increase the difficulty. Once, blown by the wind, left, Ning Shu would return it to the previous difficulty. When there were players who conquered this dungeon, Ning Shu would not use this dungeon to make things difficult for, blown by the wind, anymore. He did not want, blown by the wind, to be the first person to conquer this dungeon. This valley was the first step for, blown by the wind, to become famous. Now that, blown by the wind, had conquered this dungeon, there was no use at all. After all, there were still quite a few players who had conquered this dungeon. If there were more, it would not be strange. After, blown by the wind, conquered this dungeon, his few companions came over to conquer this dungeon. But this time, when they saw Ning Shu, they did not dare to speak nonsense anymore. After conquering the dungeon and getting their own things, they left. Chapter 363. After completing the Spider Valley Instance dungeon, Following the Breeze became angrier the more he thought about it. He felt that he was being targeted. When he was killing monsters, the Instance dungeon was difficult, but when other people were doing it, it was so easy. Following the Breeze directly questioned the game developer on the game forum. The content of the post was nothing more than the game developer casually changing the difficulty of the game. He also explained in detail the changes of the 8-clawed venomous spiders and the process of him defeating the monsters. Following the Breeze's post quickly became a popular post. To verify the authenticity of the post, many gamers came to the valley to see if it was true. Ning Shu, who was studying seriously, suddenly had to receive many gamers. They swarmed to the Instance dungeon, which made Ning Shu feel puzzled. Ning Shu roughly knew what was going on from these gamers. They were here to test the large spider. She did not change the programming code of the 8-clawed venomous spiders. The large spider was very normal now. Even the game's main system could not detect any abnormalities. However, what Ning Shu did not expect was that Sui Qingfeng actually had such a reaction. Was he angry out of humiliation? Ning Shu did not know how Following the Breeze was feeling. If the Instance dungeons were of the same difficulty, then it would be fine. However, it was different every time. It was simply toying with him. The gamers who came to test felt that everything was normal. However, the gamer who posted the post swore solemnly as if it was true. Many players were looking down on Following the Breeze and replied to Following the Breeze in the post. Opposite is my grandson. After personal verification, what the OP said did not happen. The OP must have seen a ghost. I sympathize, peasant, the OP must be suffering from paranoia. Noon, 1, my dear is right. Pretty name, what is the OP thinking when he posted this? Could it be that the game developer fell in love with you and used this method to attract your attention? Although a few of Following the Breeze's buddies supported him, he was still drowned out. The posts were one-sided and had been verified, so most players felt that Following the Breeze was just a person who was trying to attract attention and scam people to reply to his posts. Using such an obvious lie to deceive people, wasn't that just playing to the gallery? What kind of person was she in real life? Following the Breeze looked at these replies and was about to explode in anger. These people had no idea what was going on. Several members of Following the Breeze looked at each other. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, comforted, Following the Breeze, boss, we naturally believe in you, but what's the use of us believing in you? Everyone thinks that there's nothing wrong. Very strong monsters, you go first also said, luckily, there was only one dungeon that had a problem. Don't talk about that dungeon anymore. Let's go to other dungeons. Blown by the Wind rubbed his forehead. There was an inexplicable anger in his heart. Even he himself did not know where this anger came from. In short, he was very angry. Yurong Big Breast said, boss, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that dungeon anymore. There's been a new dungeon recently. I heard that the equipment of the monsters this time is pretty good. We can earn a lot. Blown by the Wind could only nod his head. He kept feeling that there was something that he had forgotten. The popularity of Blown by the Wind's post did not decrease. It alarmed the game officials. In order to show fairness, the game officials rescanned all the data of the Spider Valley dungeon and concluded that everything was normal. They announced the results of this announcement. Blown by the Wind looked at this result and only laughed coldly. Whatever the officials wanted to say, he had already admitted his defeat. Blown by the Wind deleted the post. However, the dungeon owners kept an eye on it. The game capsule cached the dungeon so that there would be evidence. However, these dungeons did not have any more problems. Ning Shu only laughed coldly. She felt that after a period of time, she would be able to break away from the identity of an NPC. However, with her current programming novice level, she still needed a period of time. Ning Shu was more concerned about Blown by the Wind. As expected, he was a person with luck. The current, Blown by the Wind, already had a bit of fame. Moreover, his skills were excellent. It was said that he was going to establish a guild soon. Ning Shu was not in a hurry. She worked hard to learn how to program. These things were very complicated. Ning Shu wanted to ensure that she would be able to break away from the system's control without any mistakes. Blown by the Wind was already very popular in the game and was respectfully called a great god. After countless experiments, Ning Shu took a deep breath. Finally, she replicated an NPC that looked exactly like her. This NPC was connected to the main system and would replace her to complete the commands of the main system. Actually, this NPC was a real NPC. It would meticulously complete the commands issued by the main system. And Ning Shu would be able to break away from the main system. Ning Shu registered a player account for herself. Her ID was, kneel and worship this palace. Then, Ning Shu used the identity of a player to wander around the game. She changed her clothes and chose a martial master character. She held a large knife and chopped monsters. She felt very refreshed. Ning Shu started a life of unlimited dungeons. This allowed Ning Shu's level to soar. Ning Shu did not think of using the programming code to cheat. After all, she was now an honest player. Walking in the night for a long time would lead to bumping into ghosts. So Ning Shu did not think of cheating at all. Killing monsters that had no life but a string of data felt very refreshed. She obtained a lot of good equipment. In a large-scale dungeon, Ning Shu and Blown by the Wind met. When Ning Shu saw Blown by the Wind, she pulled out the large knife on her back and shouted, "You thief, eat my knife." Then, without caring about anything else, she chopped towards Blown by the Wind. Blown by the Wind was first stunned. Then, he saw a woman rushing towards him. She was simply crazy. Blown by the Wind avoided Ning Shu's attack. He was not going to fight with a woman. Moreover, he did not even know this person with the ID, kneel and worship this palace. Ning Shu did not care about Blown by the Wind dodging. She continued to rush towards him. She was determined to fight with Blown by the Wind. "You're crazy. If you continue to be like this, don't blame me for being rough." Blown by the Wind coldly snorted. He held a cool sword in his hand and confronted Ning Shu. Ning Shu opened his mouth and sneered, "I want to take revenge for my sister. You're a beast who plays with other people's feelings. Blown by the wind, crazy. Boss, who did you play with?" "A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south," asked, blown by the wind. He then looked towards Ning Shu, "Such a beautiful woman. Can't we talk things out? Why fight and kill? Listen to Chrysanthemum brother. If there's anything, let's sit down and talk." Chapter 364. Ning Shu felt that the guy with the ID, "The chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south," was the most wretched. He looked at him and said, "You guys are jackals of the same tribe. You're someone who even flirts with NPCs. I don't dare to sit with you. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south," this was simply a black history. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, wiped his face and his face twitched. The other team members who originally wanted to support their boss, upon seeing this scene, suddenly fell silent. Following the breeze, looked at the pestering Ning Shu and said, "I don't know the sister you're talking about. Did you get the wrong person?" Ning Shu shook his head and said, "Even if you turned into ashes, I'd still recognize you. Because of you, my sister is living a life worse than death. Yet you're free and unfettered in the game. I'm going to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens." Following the breeze, was baffled. When did he cheat a girl's feelings? Following the breeze, sneered and said, "If you want to use this kind of method to attract my attention, this kind of method makes me feel disgusted. Why don't you tell me your sister's name? You don't need to use such a disgusting name to get close to me." Ning Shu, could it be that the current, following the breeze, was so famous that all the female players were throwing themselves at him? Ni Pingsan. Abbreviated as NPC. Never heard of her. Following the breeze, said expressionlessly. Ning Shu sneered and said, "Of course you don't remember. My sister was heartbroken for you and you actually don't remember her. You really are heartless." Following the breeze, expression was very impatient. Someone suddenly appeared and said that he cheated a girl's feelings. How could he be happy? He directly waved the sword in his hand and wanted to destroy this noisy and annoying girl in front of him. Ning Shu chuckled a couple of times. While blocking Sui Qingfeng's sword, she coldly said, "See, you're angry out of humiliation. You deceived my sister's feelings and even used her to achieve your own goals. You simply can't be any worse. Crazy." Following the breeze, coldly waved his sword. Seeing that the opponent was actually able to dodge his attack, he increased the power of his attack. Ning Shu did not have as many pieces of equipment as Following the Breeze, so it would be difficult for him to deal with Following the Breeze, but he would not be defeated easily. The surrounding players looked at each other. When did such a powerful person appear? Moreover, she was a female player. Moreover, she had chosen the martial master character. Normally, very few female players would choose such a character. Usually, they would choose to play supporting and elegant roles. Ning Shu saw that he wasn't Following the Breeze's opponent for the time being. In order to avoid losing levels, Ning Shu retreated a few steps to avoid Following the Breeze's attack. Following the Cool Breeze coldly looked at Ning Shu. At this time, Following the Cool Breeze had the demeanor of a great deity. He stood proudly on Mount Han, with an attitude that was too high to endure. "Stop fighting. Aya, if you have something to say, let's talk it out. Wind blows my balls cold," could tell that the two of them didn't want to fight anymore. Kneel and worship this queen, was slightly weaker than, blown by the wind, but the boss didn't want to bear the reputation of not being gentlemanly and bullying female players. Ning Shu arrogantly said, "I'll let you off this time. I'm here to clear an instance dungeon." Following the Cool Breeze didn't say anything. He just coldly laughed. What the hell was he laughing at? His fake smile was really ugly. He really thought that he had some style. Pretentious. "Beauty, you're also here to clear this instance dungeon. Why don't we form a team? The monsters this time are very strong. I see that your strength isn't weak. Join us and we can resolve our grudges. Let's laugh and forget our grudges. A chrysanthemum blossoms southward, said to Ning Shu. A pair of lecherous eyes were still looking at Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu really wanted to dig out his eyeballs. Her current appearance was already completely different from an NPC. At most, she could be considered to have a delicate and pretty face. She was already like this, yet this guy was still like this. No wonder even NPCs wanted to take liberties with people. Ning Shu glanced at, following the cool breeze, and coldly snorted. She disdainfully said, I won't stay with some people. Following the cool breeze, coldly said, you simply don't have the qualifications to join my team. Ning Shu curled her lips and turned around to enter the instance dungeon. This instance dungeon was in a dilapidated palace. There were many treasures in this palace, especially some hidden artifacts. Perhaps the stones you passed by could be the highest quality gems. But in Ning Shu's eyes, these were all strings of data. After going through a series of twists and turns, he would be able to obtain some good things. Following the cool breeze, S team also entered the palace. Relying on their keen senses, following the cool breeze, and his team found many treasures. As expected of Nan Zhu Jun, who had a halo around her. Ning Shu discovered that the equipment on, following the cool breeze, were all top quality. Even the other people's equipment wasn't bad. They were simply a group of rich people. He really wanted to rob these people. The guarding boss was an ink-top silver beast. Its entire body was pitch black like a shadow and its speed was extremely fast. Before they could even react, this boss would be by their side. One claw was enough to make them lose a level. A few more claws and they could only be killed and sent back to the city. Losing a level could be trained back, but when these claws hit a person's body, it could cause them to vomit blood. The feeling was too real. Ning Shu took the lead to face off against this boss. The opponent was too fast, making her unable to react. Ning Shu analyzed the boss's code. The stronger the boss, the more stable its code was. Ning Shu didn't even know where to start. She really was too bad. She should learn more. Ning Shu was kicked in the back by the boss's hoof. Immediately, she felt a burning pain. Ever since she became a player, her stats were based on the player. Even if she was just a string of data, it would still cause her to feel pain. Hi beautiful lady, do you need our help? A chrysanthemum blossoms smiled at Ning Shu and asked. Every time Ning Shu saw the smile on this burly man's face, she felt that it was very wretched. Ning Shu humphed and crawled up from the ground. No need. Following the cool breeze glanced at Ning Shu and started to attack the boss with a few other members. Ning Shu saw that these people were not weak. As expected of an unshakable god in the future. Ning Shu planned to retreat. This boss was too strong. She couldn't do it. However, she wanted to level up and get a few more pieces of equipment before trying again. Following the cool breeze saw that this female player was preparing to leave. A ray of light flashed in his eyes. He turned around and rushed towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu, fuck, this bastard. Ning Shu saw that following the cool breeze had lured the boss over. She immediately became angry. She held a large sword in her hand and prepared to fight the boss head-on. The boss's huge impact made Ning Shu feel as if her internal organs were displaced. In an instant, she was killed by this boss and lost 5 levels. Ning Shu sucked in a breath of pain. She turned around and ran. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Next time, she would definitely kill following the cool breeze and lose 5 levels. No, 10 levels. Chapter 365. Following the breeze, looked at Ning Shu's fleeing figure and furrowed his brows. He really didn't like this female player, especially her eyes. He felt like he had seen them somewhere before. It made, following the breeze, feel a little haze in his heart. He really didn't like this feeling. The other members looked at, following the breeze. A chrysanthemum blossomed southward, said, "Boss, you actually lured the boss and killed her level, and it was even level 5. You're on big breasts, boss, what you're doing isn't right." A chrysanthemum blossomed southward, nodded, "Yeah, it really wasn't right." Following the breeze, said snappily, "Come on, isn't it just because she's a female player? If it was a male player, would you guys be so protective?" A chrysanthemum blossomed southward, shrugged his shoulders. "It's rare to see a female player that's not weak. There's always a special feeling, ha ha ha." In the end, following the breeze, and the others killed the boss and dropped a lot of equipment. The game's main system broadcasted, following the breeze, and his party's achievements in the world. The equipment that was dropped made other players drool. And at this time, Ning Shu had already returned to the city. Going out for a trip had lowered her level by 5. What Ning Shu didn't expect was that, following the breeze, was actually so sinister. It didn't match his refined and handsome appearance. This time she was careless. Ning Shu was very suspicious. If the game's main system didn't discover the original owner's abnormality, she was afraid that, following the breeze, would have told the game's developers about this loophole and finally erased the original owner. This time she was tricked by him, but there wouldn't be a next time. Ning Shu first learned the code. One day she would be able to understand all the codes in this game world. She wasn't skilled enough and didn't dare to casually change the code. If she was found out, then she would be miserable. Being erased would be miserable. Because of the drop in level, Ning Shu had no choice but to farm monsters for equipment and experience. She had to raise her level. There were many benefits to having a higher level. Her defense and attack would greatly increase. Ning Shu found that her quest was just like a game. Completing the quest would give her reward. But the game she played was much more difficult than this. The bet was her life. If she didn't complete it, then there was nothing left. And this kind of game could start all over again. Ning Shu returned to Spider Valley to take a look, preparing to return to his own territory to grind. The replicated NPC was a very responsible NPC. When he saw Ning Shu walking over, he immediately asked for help from Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the beautiful but dull NPC. If the original owner was like this, he definitely wouldn't have been killed. But what's the point of being so silly and ignorant? Being able to understand human feelings was something that couldn't be exchanged for anything. It was a pity that although he had feelings, he didn't have experience or intelligence. In the end, because of his insignificant feelings, he buried himself. It was impossible for the original owner and, following the breeze, to be one. Humans and demons were very different. One person with a string of codes, it was simply the strangest combination. Following the breeze was only using the original owner. In his heart, he probably knew that this NPC liked him and probably felt disgusted. But towards the original owner, he was just coaxing and deceiving. Ning Shu accepted the quest and entered the valley. As soon as the 8-clawed poisonous spider saw that Ning Shu was about to pick the immortal grass, it immediately spat out spider silk at Ning Shu, wanting to entangle Ning Shu. Before, when she was still an NPC, this spider didn't even bother with her. Now that she was a player, it immediately attacked. Ning Shu directly used her broadsword to stab through the large spider's swollen abdomen. The large spider was destroyed. Ning Shu took the immortal grass and went to turn in the quest. However, it required a lot of experience to increase by 5 levels. The higher the level, the more experience was required. Ning Shu hated Sui Qingfeng so much that her teeth itched. When she had more equipment and level up, she would definitely kill Sui Qingfeng 100 times. When Ning Shu was preparing to rush to the next instance dungeon, she suddenly heard the voices of 2 little girls. Then she saw the 2 girls walking over hand in hand. It was obvious that they were here to farm monsters. But Ning Shu looked at their state. They were holding hands and looking around as if they were shopping. This made Ning Shu very speechless. Ning Shu looked at the ID above their heads. One was called Lost Mimi. It was a little pharmacist. No, the level was too low. It should be called a little pharmacist. The other was called Icy Lotus. It was a mage. The levels of these two girls were not high. They actually came to farm an intermediate instance dungeon. It was obvious that they were rookies who had just entered the Jianghu. Ning Shu turned around and left. She still had to farm the next instance dungeon. After taking 2 steps, Ning Shu suddenly thought of something. That was, the destined girl of Following the Breeze was a girl called Lost Mimi. Then this little pharmacist was the female lead. In the original owner's memory, he did not have any impression of the female lead. Naturally, he did not know what the female lead looked like. Ning Shu turned her head and looked at Lost Mimi. She was thin and small, youthful and lively. In short, she looked like a very simple girl. And it should be the female lead. Ning Shu turned around and left. In the future, she would probably cross paths with this Lost Mimi. After all, she still had to chase and kill, Following the Breeze. Ning Shu was just about to leave and a voice called out to Ning Shu. The voice was crisp and lively. Sister, wait a moment. Ning Shu, she had a premonition that trouble was coming. Sister. Lost Mimi pulled her partner Icy Lotus and ran in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu saw that she was carrying a small medicine basket on her back. In the medicine basket, there were a few very low-level herbs. It was the kind of herbs that could be seen everywhere. It looked really shabby. Walking closer to take a look, Ning Shu discovered that Lost Mimi was very cute. She had a small round face, clear eyes, and a face full of collagen. She looked very tender and smooth. It made people's hands itch to pinch her and see if water could be pinched out. Following the Breeze liked to tease this kind of little girl. Ning Shu coldly asked, "What's the matter?" Lost Mimi was a little reserved and asked Ning Shu, "Sister, how should we accept the quest?" Ning Shu pointed at the beautiful NPC and said, "You guys go over. The NPC will tell you what to do." "Can you be more specific?" Lost Mimi asked again. Ning Shu, This was no longer an ordinary noob. It was a white eye. When entering the game, you should first look at the game strategy. Seeing that the other party was looking at her strangely, Lost Mimi was a little reserved and said, "Is it too much trouble for you? You guys go over. The NPC will give you the quest." Ning Shu said somewhat powerlessly. "Thank you." Lost Mimi quickly thanked Ning Shu and then pulled her little friend over to the NPC. Ning Shu also heard the girl with the ID Icy Lotus whisper, "What's there to be arrogant about? Isn't it just a higher level? So arrogant." Chapter 366. Ning Shu naturally heard Clear Ice Lotus say that she was arrogant and proud. Ning Shu crossed his arms and looked at the two's backs. "Stop talking." Lost Mimi tugged on her friend's sleeve. She turned her head and saw Ning Shu looking at her. Suddenly, she felt a little embarrassed and quickly turned her back. The two rookies hurriedly accepted the quest and then entered the valley. Ning Shu was suddenly curious. Could it be that the two of them couldn't find the quest location? Maybe if they wandered around the valley, they wouldn't be able to find the location of the herb. Ning Shu used a tree branch to draw the code outside and waited for the two to come out. After waiting for a long time, Lost Mimi and Clear Ice Lotus came out. They didn't lose any levels and came out unscathed. Ning Shu was a little surprised. Did the two of them kill the 8-clawed poison spider? The two of them didn't go to the NPC to hand in the quest. Instead, they saw Ning Shu and came over excitedly. Lost Mimi asked Ning Shu, "Sister, were you waiting for us?" Ning Shu didn't say anything. Lost Mimi said, Sister, there are a lot of herbs in the valley. Look, I found a lot of herbs. Ning Shu looked at the basket on Lost Mimi's back. There were some low-level herbs in it. Didn't you do the quest? Ning Shu asked. Lost Mimi said, we didn't find the place. When we saw the herbs, Clear Ice Lotus and I went to pick the herbs. There are so many herbs. Ning Shu's mouth was slightly open. The tree branch in his hand fell. He was simply indescribably shocked. How much confidence did she have to be able to mistake stupidity for cuteness? Stupid people should learn more. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. He felt that he should go to the dungeon and kill Clear Ice Lotus. Why waste time here? Lost Mimi didn't come here to play games. She came here to meet a beautiful love. Compared to this girl, Ning Shu felt that he was quite smart. Ning Shu turned around and left, thinking that he needed to get himself a mount. He didn't believe that he could rely on his legs to walk. Lost Mimi still wanted to talk to this sister, but the other party left without saying anything, which made Lost Mimi a little embarrassed. Beside her, Clear Ice Lotus curled her lips and said, Mimi, why are you talking to her? This kind of person's eyes grow on top of her head. Just because she's high level, she's very arrogant. Don't ask for a rebuff. Lost Mimi could only nod her head, and then said expectantly, when can we also reach such a level and become experts? Definitely. Icy Lotus said. Ning Shu naturally knew that these two young ladies were very dissatisfied with him. So what if they were dissatisfied? Did he have to be polite and humble to them? This was originally a game world where seniority and strength were the most important. If he, a high-level player, lowered his voice to two newbies, that would be a joke. Ning Shu went to clear 2 more dungeons, but he still didn't let his level not go up. Moreover, if he leveled up again after leveling up, he would have 20% more points than before. Therefore, Ning Shu hated following the breeze to the point that his teeth itched. While Ning Shu was still working hard to clear dungeons, a message came from the World Channel, Great God, following the breeze, will be establishing a guild in 2 days. He welcomes all players to come. This was the first guild in the entire server. Following the breeze was very ambitious. The requirements to establish a guild were very harsh. Honor points, battle power, level, all of these had to be met before the guild could be established. After establishing a guild, the game system would give the guild a few shops. These shops were all real money. Moreover, there were more and more players in the game, and there would be more wealth. Shops could bring a lot of benefits to a guild. This was the real Jianghu world. However, there were very few people who could establish a guild. Ning Shu clenched his fists. Since he was going to establish a guild, Ning Shu felt that he needed to give his blessings. The disappearance of Following the Breeze, who wanted to establish a guild, caused a commotion in some worlds. To be able to establish a guild in such a short period of time, he really was a great god. It must be known that most of the players had just left the newbie level and were slowly climbing up. Now, other great gods were establishing guilds. However, Ning Shu felt that the current Following the Breeze was far from the Following the Breeze in the storyline. He wasn't as godly as in the storyline. The current Following the Breeze was very impetuous, like a half-empty pot of water. He wanted to show off just because he had some achievements. He could barely be called a great god, but he couldn't be called a great god. Ning Shu felt that there should be a great god in this server, but he was a bit low-key. When Lost Mimi and Icy Clear Lotus heard this news, they were filled with worship. Icy Clear Lotus said to Lost Mimi, Mimi, let's join a guild. This way, we can find a master and do quests easier. Lost Mimi's eyes lit up, but she hesitated and said, our levels are so low, they won't want us. Icy Clear Lotus patted Lost Mimi's shoulder and said with certainty, they will definitely want us. Don't forget that you are a medicine master. Guilds lack this kind of support profession the most. We will definitely succeed. Okay, let's give it a try. Lost Mimi suddenly smiled. Her face looked very cute. 2 days later, Ning Shu arrived at the city where, following the breeze, established his guild. The guild's name was Following the Dragon Gang. The name was very domineering. Many players entered the guild with congratulatory gifts. Ning Shu held a phoenix feather in his hand and was about to give it to the doorman, but when he saw that the person who welcomed the players was a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, he immediately took back the phoenix feather. When a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south saw the feather, his eyes lit up. Just as he reached out his hand to take it, the other party took it back. When he saw Ning Shu, his heart suddenly thumped. Seeing the other party like this, he was definitely here to cause trouble. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south immediately smiled and said, "Hi beauty, long time no see. Your level has increased again. Congratulations, congratulations." A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south touched his head and said with a smile. However, he did not let Ning Shu in. Obviously, he did not welcome Ning Shu. Ning Shu revealed a fake smile and said, "Congratulations, congratulations. I haven't seen you for a while and you have already established your guild. When I heard the news, I wanted to come and pay my respects. This is my congratulatory gift." Ning Shu threw a gold coin to the chrysanthemum blossoms to the south and said without any sincerity, "Congratulations, you are the first guild in the entire server." A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south took the gold coin, his rough face twisted. Chapter 367. The congratulatory gift was just a gold coin. You might as well not give it. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south said with a cold face, "Beauty, on such a joyous occasion, we welcome you with open arms with the Dragon Gang, but what you did was wrong." Ning Shu blinked and asked, "Don't you want the gift?" A chrysanthemum blossoms southwards threw the gold coin to Ning Shu, "You can go in." Ning Shu kept the gold coin and asked, "What is your leader's level now?" A chrysanthemum blossoms southwards looked at Ning Shu warily, "Why are you asking this?" "I'm just asking, why are you so nervous?" Ning Shu laughed. The two rookies not far away heard their conversation. Lost Mimi said anxiously, "We still need the gift, we don't have any at all." Icy Lotus was also anxious, "Can't we go in?" "If we don't go in, how can we join the Dragon Gang?" Lost Mimi saw that the elder sister she had met before seemed to know the people from the Dragon Gang. She pulled Icy Lotus and ran in front of Ning Shu and said, "Elder sister, can you take us in?" Ning Shu, Lost Mimi saw that Ning Shu didn't say anything, so she said to a chrysanthemum blossom southwards, "Can you let us in? We are here to participate in the opening ceremony, and we want to join the Dragon Gang." A chrysanthemum blossom southwards was obviously choked, especially after seeing the two girls' strength. He was speechless and said, "Our gang is not recruiting now." "So it's like that." Lost Mimi was very sad and disappointed, showing all her emotions on her face. "I'm a mage, she's a pharmacist. Although she's only a junior pharmacist now, she'll be able to make pills soon." A chrysanthemum blossoms southwards, "They don't want such a trash pharmacist, there are plenty of great pharmacists who want to join their gang. But these two girls are really cute," a chrysanthemum blossoms southwards thought while rubbing his chin. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. He felt that the female lead would definitely be able to enter. "Chrysanthemum, let them in." Following the Breeze's voice rang out. Ning Shu turned her head and saw that Following the Breeze was wearing gorgeous equipment. Even his pair of shoes were top-quality god artifacts. It was like a moving mountain of gold. This was all money. Blown by the wind stunned the two girls, especially Lost Mimi. Her eyes stared straight as she said, "He looks really good." Following the Breeze looked at Ning Shu. The player with the ID kneel and worship this palace had actually leveled up. He had lost 5 levels from the boss, but now he had actually leveled back up. Moreover, his level was even higher than before, and he had a godly weapon on his wrist. Sui Qingfeng felt gloomy in his heart. Then, he heard a voice that didn't know what to say. Sui Qingfeng looked at the person who spoke. It was a little girl. Sui Qingfeng was speechless as he shook his head. He turned around and entered the guild. Lost Mimi immediately pulled Icy Lotus into the guild. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. The male lead and female lead met at a glance. Walking into the guild, everywhere was luxurious and joyous. It was obvious that Sui Qingfeng had paid a lot for this guild. After all, it was the first guild in the entire server. He guessed that the game developers would also help out a little. There were many players in the guild. They were all chatting with each other. Most of them were male players. There were very few female players. Seeing a high-level female player like Ning Shu suddenly appear, they were all very surprised. Especially when they saw the equipment on Ning Shu's body. Some players even came over to strike up a conversation with Ning Shu. But Ning Shu had a cold face and didn't say anything. This made the players who came over to strike up a conversation unhappy. However, some people paid attention and looked up and down at the equipment on Ning Shu's body. The two rookies, Lost Mimi and Icy Lotus, saw that there were many high-level players around them. They were all high-level players. This kind of scene made them feel weak in their hearts. They only knew this cold big sister here. The two rookies went over to Ning Shu's side. Ning Shu saw these two little girls go over to her side. She was speechless. Ning Shu knew that these two people didn't like her. Outside the house, there was the sound of firecrackers. Ning Shu listened to this sound and felt that the whole world was like a real world. There were many people, many grievances. It was virtual but also real. The original owner came back to live in this kind of world. This was a real world. What was real and what was fake, no one could say for sure. Sui Qingfeng brought a few partners and stood on the high platform. He was in high spirits as he announced the official opening of the Dragon Gang. Just as Sui Qingfeng finished speaking, there were countless red packets floating in the air. Sui Qingfeng said, "This is a little gift from the Dragon Gang. Thank you for coming to the Dragon Gang's opening ceremony." Many players were snatching the red packets. Ning Shu caught a red packet. When he opened it, he saw that it was actually a high-quality gem. If he was lucky, he could get a semi-divine weapon. If he was unlucky, he could only get a gold coin. The two girls beside Ning Shu each snatched a red packet. Icy Lotus only got 100 gold coins. Lost Mimi got a magic staff. It was extremely gorgeous and cool. Lost Mimi was only a pharmacist. This kind of staff was not suitable for her. He generously gave it to Icy Lotus and said, "Icy Lotus, this is for you." Icy Lotus Pure forced a smile and said, "Thank you. I heard that you want to join the Dragon Gang." Sui Qingfeng noticed the situation here. He saw the round apple-faced girl get a staff and walk over. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and moved to the side. The attraction between the male lead and female lead was simply too strong. Lost Mimi saw that the gang leader was actually talking to her. She was so excited that her body was trembling. She said, "Gang leader, I want to join the Dragon Gang. I will definitely contribute to the Dragon Gang." "Yes, I can do it too." Icy Lotus also quickly said. Sui Qingfeng nodded. His gaze landed on Lost Mimi. He had never seen such a pure girl in the game. Could it be that she did not see that other players were staring at the staff in her hand? She even put it out so casually. Was she not afraid of others stealing it? You too can join the Dragon Gang today. Sui Qingfeng waved his hand and let the two rookies join the gang. This made the other players envious. They wanted to join the Dragon Gang. The Dragon Gang had all kinds of requirements. Now, two rookies who just entered the game could join the Dragon Gang so easily. They only hated that they were not girls. Really? Lost Mimi immediately hugged Icy Lotus and happily cheered. Ning Shu was speechless. Was there a need to be so exaggerated? Chapter 368. Just like that, the male and female lead met. One was a godly player, and the other was a noob who didn't know anything. From then on, the godly player brought the noob to various dungeons, and there were pink bubbles all the way. So this was the type that, following the breeze, liked, but wasn't the original owner also ignorant of worldly affairs? Following the breeze didn't like the original owner? Or was it because the original owner was an NPC, and didn't treat the other party as a person, let alone like the original owner? People had different lives. This was a troublesome matter, so there was no need to think about it. This kind of you love me, I love him thing was the most troublesome. Ning Shu just watched, following the breeze, and the noob talk. Following the breeze, kept talking to Lost Mimi, but left Lost Mimi's partner, Icy Clear Lotus, to the side. It looked very awkward. And at this time, Lost Mimi also seemed to have forgotten her partner, and her face was red as she excitedly talked to the godly player. Follow the Breeze proposed to help Lost Mimi keep the mage staff. Follow the Breeze also had good intentions. After all, if this kind of rookie had anything valuable on him, he would be cheated by other players. Moreover, Follow the Breeze could see that this little rookie was just a piece of blank paper. He was simply an idiot. Lost Mimi very straightforwardly gave the mage staff to Following the Breeze. You're not afraid that I won't give it to you? Lost Mimi looked at Following the Breeze with a pair of clear eyes. Leader won't be like this, I believe in Leader. Besides, giving this to Leader is nothing. You may not know, but this thing is very valuable. Following the Breeze raised his eyebrows at this idiot. Lost Mimi shook her head. Following the Breeze kept the staff. Ning Shu shook his head, and saw that Icy Clear Lotus beside Lost Mimi had a very ugly expression, especially when she saw Lost Mimi straightforwardly give the staff to someone else, and her face flashed with annoyance. First he said that he would give it to her, and now he gave it to someone else in a blink of an eye. Lost Mimi didn't understand the ways of the world, and didn't know how to look at people's faces. Naturally, she didn't know that her partner was in a bad mood. Following this kind of female lead was the easiest way to turn evil and make people vomit blood. This was because she didn't even know that her actions would make others unhappy or bring harm to others. After turning evil and doing something to harm the female lead would innocently and sadly ask, "Why are you doing this to me? Aren't we good friends?" Even if he told her about the harm she had done to herself, the female lead would still look innocent and sad and say, "I didn't know, I didn't want it to be like this." Was simply vomiting blood. Following the breeze, Mimi's face, following the Breeze, SSS, following the Breeze's, S's face, S, following the Breeze, SS, following the Breeze, mimicked Breeze speaks have a 8 speak. Are you afraid to accept my challenge? Following the Dragon Gang's leader shouldn't be a coward. Ning Shu mocked. Many players were excited, looking at Following the Breeze and the female player with the ID, kneel and worship this queen. The matter between a male player and a female player always had some ambiguous color. They were all guessing what kind of grudge Ning Shu had with Following the Breeze, that he had to pick this time to challenge them. It must be known that the Following the Dragon Gang could be said to be the center of attention, and now that they were challenged, they were slapped in the face. Ning Shu wanted Following the Breeze's reputation to hit rock bottom, so that he wouldn't be able to use the ID, Following the Breeze, to mingle in this game. When the Following the Dragon Gang saw Ning Shu's challenge, each and every one of their faces turned black. A chrysanthemum facing south stood out, and Ning Shu said, "Your level isn't high, so you don't have the qualifications to challenge our leader. How about I fight with you?" Ning Shu coldly said, "I'm not going to fight with you, I want to fight with Following the Breeze." Following the Breeze felt that this female player was really annoying. Following the Breeze was sure that he didn't hurt any girls at all, but this female player used the name of standing up for her sisters to go against him everywhere. Wasn't it just to attract his attention? It was simply disgusting. Ning Shu saw that Following the Breeze was ignoring him, and with a high and mighty appearance, it was clear that he wouldn't accept his challenge. Ning Shu insisted on fighting with Following the Breeze, otherwise what was the use of her coming here today? Ning Shu directly asked the game's main system to fight with Following the Breeze. World News: Kneel and worship this queen, challenges Following the Breeze, does Following the Breeze accept? Now all the players in the game knew that Ning Shu wanted to challenge Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze was the first great god to establish a guild, and now he was being challenged by an unknown player. This kind of challenge to a god, a heroic act of sending oneself to death, simply made people give a thumbs up. World News: Kneel and worship this queen, challenges Following the Breeze, does Following the Breeze accept? Following the Breeze's face was black, and the entire Following the Dragon gang's players looked at him with unkind eyes. What kind of deep hatred was this, that he had to choose to challenge him when he was establishing a guild, and purposely lower the Following the Dragon gang's honor points? Honor points were very important, and if the guild's honor points didn't reach the standard, the entire guild would be disbanded. Ning Shu pulled out his broadsword, pointed at Following the Breeze and shouted, "Guild leader Following the Breeze, do you want to accept my challenge?" Lost Mimi obviously couldn't understand why she would pull out her sword and point it at him, and hurriedly ran in front of Ning Shu and said, "Sister, don't fight, okay?" Ning Shu turned his head towards Lost Mimi and said, "Sister is very busy, go play at the side." Lost Mimi, it was still Ice Lotus who pulled Lost Mimi to the side, and Lost Mimi even said, "Why do they want to fight? Why does she want to challenge our guild leader? This is simply too much, there are so many people watching." Ning Shu ignored Lost Mimi and impatiently said to Following Cool Breeze, "Following Cool Breeze, are you a man or not? Can't you be a bit more straightforward with your nagging?" Following the Breeze stood up, and coldly said, "As you wish." Just as Following the Breeze's voice fell, a duel stage appeared below Ning Shu and Following the Breeze's feet. World News: Following the Cool Breeze accepts, kneel and worship this palace, duel. Following the Breeze said in disgust, "How long are you going to go against me? I said before, this method of yours will only cause me to be disgusted. I don't know if you know me outside the game, but use this method in the game." Ning Shu only said one sentence, "The enmity of losing a level is absolutely irreconcilable." If he didn't make Following the Breeze lose a level today, Ning Shu would crawl back today. Perhaps due to the demeanor of an expert, Following the Breeze didn't make the first move. Ning Shu naturally didn't hold back, and took out his broadsword and chopped towards Following the Breeze. Looking at the opponent's attack, Following the Breeze's eyes flashed with disdain. Such a weak attack actually wanted to challenge him, he was simply overestimating himself. A sharp light flashed in Following the Breeze's eyes, and he met Ning Shu's attack head-on. Chapter 369. Following Cool Breeze was very annoyed with this strange woman. The first thing she said was that he had cheated the woman's feelings. Following Cool Breeze even felt that this woman could not love him in the real world, and was only going against him in this game. Today was supposed to be the day of the establishment of the sect. The other party's provocative behavior was simply stepping on the dignity of the dragon follower gang. It was also an insult to him as the gang leader. If he did not make this, kneel and worship this queen, unable to jump around today, in the future, other people would think that the dragon follower gang could be casually stepped on. Ning Shu wanted to make Following Cool Breeze lose his reputation, and Following Cool Breeze wanted to use Ning Shu to establish his prestige, killing the chicken to warn the monkey. Following Cool Breeze had already decided that this time he would not kill the opponent by 5 levels, but directly kill her back to the novice village, so that she could not jump around in front of him. It would be best if she could not stay in the game anymore. Following Cool Breeze's eyes flashed a ray of light, and his attacks became even more ferocious. Ning Shu was also not to be outdone. He followed Cool Breeze and resisted. Only after resisting like this did he feel that following Cool Breeze's strength was strong. Ning Shu fiercely counterattacked. He did not care about losing levels at all. As long as he could make the opponent lose levels, he was willing to make any sacrifices. The surrounding players looked at these two ferocious appearances, as if they had a deep hatred. They looked at each other in dismay and their blood boiled. A chrysanthemum faces south. Boss, looks like you can't easily defeat, kneel and worship this queen. You roam big breasts, tightly frowned, this woman is really fierce. She is completely fighting without any regard for her life. Instead, it is making boss's hands and feet tied. To establish our prestige, we need to one-shot her to establish our prestige. Wind blows my balls cold, and monsters are strong you go first, both felt that something was wrong. Boss's strength is definitely stronger than kneel and worship this queen, but one shot is a bit unrealistic. Boss has been killed by kneel and worship this queen, and lost a level. A chrysanthemum faces south, slapped his thigh and said, but kneel and worship this queen has already been killed by boss and lost 3 levels. So what if he was level 3? Everyone could only watch as the dragon follower gang's leader was killed and his level dropped. That was enough. On the other hand, Ning Shu, who was fighting with, following the breeze, felt pain all over her body. Following the breeze was really strong, but she wasn't someone to be trifled with. She had already said that if she didn't kill, following the breeze, today, she would crawl back. How could 1 level be enough? Ning Shu equipped himself with all of his equipment. On the other side, following the breeze's face darkened. He pursed his lips and looked at Ning Shu with loathing. The long sword in his hand flashed with a brilliant light. Your strength is not bad, but if you think that you can rely on these equipment to make up for the level difference, you're thinking too much. Following Cool Breeze's entire body was also equipped with equipment. Every piece of equipment on his body was a top-notch divine artifact. The surrounding players were drooling at the sight of Yi Xuan's gorgeous, godly equipment. Their eyes were red with jealousy. These were all things that could only be bought with a ticket. Being able to have 1 divine artifact was already pretty good, but Yi Xuan's entire body was full of them. Ning Shu saw that, following the breeze, was fully equipped. Instead of getting angry, she laughed and said, you being so serious means that you are afraid of me. You're even wearing equipment on your body. Very good, very good. When Ning Shu said this, the surrounding people's gazes became a bit subtle. Originally, following the breeze, S level was higher than Ning Shu's. Now that he was using a divine artifact, there was a bit of an unfair advantage. Adding on the fact that Ning Shu was a female player, following the breeze, S actions seemed to be even more of a bully. Following the breeze, S face darkened. A few of his companions, the core members of the dragon follower gang, all had a look of displeasure on their faces. They looked at Ning Shu with unkind eyes. The opponent's method of not leaving any leeway made him an enemy. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, a burly man, rubbed his head and viciously said, in the future, every time I see, kneel to me, I will kill her once and make her stay in the beginner village for the rest of her life. He really thought that they were pushovers. If he wanted to step on the dragon follower gang to become famous, he would have to see whether or not it would hurt his feet. Monsters are strong, you go first, frowned, how did boss provoke such a lunatic? No matter how you look at it, this woman is crazy. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, sneered, boss is handsome, he will always attract crazy bees and butterflies. At this time, Lost Mimi came over and asked, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, boss will win, right? A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, seeing such a cute girl, rubbed his head and said, don't underestimate boss. How can a great god be defeated so easily? Lost Mimi immediately became happy. Her apple-like face was flushed red, making people feel comfortable just by looking at her. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, S eyes revealed a wolf-like green light. She really was a top-grade little beauty. Bing bing, I knew that boss wouldn't lose. Lost Mimi pulled bing 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 and said excitedly. Bing ching bing 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 made a sound and did not say anything. Seeing such a cute girl, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, started drooling and stared at Lost Mimi. Lost Mimi, yes, your Mimi is indeed lost. She doesn't even have one. Lost Mimi hurriedly covered her chest with her arms and shouted angrily, you pervert, Mimi means cat. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, only laughed ambiguously. Chrysanthemum, that's enough. Stop messing around. Monsters are strong, you go first, glanced at Lost Mimi, frowned and said, boss is fighting up there, and you are teasing girls here. On the battle stage, Ning Shu was unable to take it anymore. She had already lost 10 levels to following cool breeze. Using the method of exchanging life for life, Ning Shu had already killed following cool breeze by 5 levels. Following cool breeze would have to work hard to regain 5 levels of experience. Although she had also been killed by following cool breeze, she had already lost 10 levels. Both sides were already angry. Following cool breeze was very ruthless. Ning Shu directly attacked him. She was not afraid at all. At worst, she would just give up on this ID and register a new one. Following cool breeze was willing to give up his great god ID. Moreover, this ID was the boss of a guild. Following cool breeze was unwilling. Ning Shu had a plan in her heart. She did not care about anything else and did not defend anymore. Following cool breeze was shocked by the attack on Ning Shu. The opponent did not care about anything else and only attacked him. Even if the opponent's level was dropping rapidly, he was still attacked. Ning Shu's level was dropping rapidly, but, following cool breeze, was directly killed by Ning Shu and lost 10 levels. 10 levels. Following cool breeze was so angry that he wanted to die. At the same time, he was also terrified. The opponent's attitude made him very scared. He even wondered if he had really hurt the girl's feelings. Following cool breeze used a big move and directly cleared Ning Shu's level to 0. Then, Ning Shu was forced to return to the beginner village. Change your ID and start over. Following cool breeze, just you wait. World News, following cool breeze, challenge victory. World News, following cool breeze, challenge victory. World News, following cool breeze, challenge victory. This news was broadcasted 3 times in a row, and even the sound of fireworks rang out. It seemed very jubilant. Chapter 370. Following the cool breeze won, but his heart was not happy at all. Instead, it was filled with irritation that was hard to get rid of, making following the cool breeze's face very ugly. To actually encounter a challenge when establishing a sect, and the leader was even killed and lost 10 levels, it was not easy to reach level 10. Thus, following the cool breeze did not establish his power very smoothly. The dragon following gang members all had black faces, especially following the cool breeze's few companions, who were all frowning. Following the breeze jumped off the stage. Don't wear underwear, cold balls, asked boss. I'm afraid that this woman is really here to take revenge on you. Looking at her ferocious appearance, did you really do something to make her hate you? Following the cool breeze's mood was very bad. When he heard his own members questioning him, his tone was very bad. What do you mean I really did something? I didn't do anything at all. I just met a crazy person. Balls don't wear underpants, pursed his lips and did not say anything. The others saw that there was going to be hostility between the two, so they quickly mediated. Following the cool breeze turned around and left. Lost Mimi did not care about Clear Ice Lotus beside her and quickly following the cool breeze. Following the cool breeze glanced at her from the corner of his eyes and coldly said, "What are you following me for?" Lost Mimi said very sincerely, "You're so strong, you directly killed that female player." "You really think I'm strong?" Following the cool breeze sneered and said. Seeing this girl's face full of reverence, he felt a lot better in his heart. Lost Mimi said as if it was a matter of course, "You have always been strong, really." Ning Shu was forced to return to the novice village. She was now a little novice. If she wanted to train this account back, she would need more time than a new account. Ning Shu immediately cancelled this ID and registered a new one called "This Queen is Here Again." However, this ID also chose the mage class. Then, Ning Shu began his days of learning code while grinding dungeons. Ning Shu's coding skills were now a little better than before. Sometimes, when he went to dungeon, he could even change the boss coding, making it much easier to kill bosses. However, Ning Shu encountered a problem when she went out to grind bosses. Many players attacked her the moment they saw her. This made Ning Shu speechless. For example, now that she had just finished killing the boss, a male player with the ID, "Let the Lord be enlightened," stopped Ning Shu and said, "Kneel and worship this queen." Ning Shu asked curiously, "Who is kneel and worship this queen?" "I don't know her." Let the Lord be enlightened felt that his intelligence had been insulted and said, "The Dragon Gang has issued a bounty. As long as I can kill you, I can get the equipment. If you let me kill you, you can leave. I know you are, kneel and worship this queen. Your new ID is, this queen is back, and you are also a martial master. Don't joke around, you are so open, who doesn't know? Stand there and let me kill you, this way everyone can report back." Ning Shu was speechless. She didn't think that, following the wind, would have this move, a bounty. He really didn't even want his face anymore. Ning Shu was someone who was about to level up. She directly killed, "Let the Lord be enlightened." When she met players who wanted to get rich, Ning Shu directly killed them and lowered their level. After a long time, some low-level players didn't come to find trouble with Ning Shu, but it was the high-level players that came to find trouble with Ning Shu. Ning Shu didn't think that the Dragon Gang would be so willing. The equipment that could move high-level players should be something good, or else these high-level players wouldn't be so persistent in finding trouble with her. Towards these people, Ning Shu would definitely not be merciful. Even if she had to risk her life, she would teach these people a lesson, or else they would always come to find trouble with her. She didn't have that much free time. Every time the players that came to find Ning Shu, they would all be killed by Ning Shu until their level dropped, and Ning Shu also obtained the title of Killing Level Demon King. Ning Shu didn't want to find trouble with Following the Wind for the time being, but she didn't expect to meet him in an intermediate dungeon. In a short period of time, Following the Wind's level went back, and now, Following the Wind was bringing Lost Mimi and Icy Lotus, these two rookies, to clear dungeons. Along the way, Following the Wind was arguing with Lost Mimi, mainly because Following the Wind liked to tease Lost Mimi too much. Following the Wind felt that this little girl was too gullible, too pure, and he couldn't help but want to tease her. For example, if he told her that there was a herb in front of her, she would immediately run over, but if she didn't see the herb, she would immediately pull a long face and accuse him of lying. But she didn't learn from her mistakes, and was always tricked by him. And Icy Lotus, at the side, was a bit embarrassed. Following behind the two of them, she couldn't say anything, only looking at the figures of the two people in front of her. Her eyes were filled with hidden bitterness. Just like this, the two teams met, and Ning Shu saw Following the Wind, smiled and said, "Yo, your level went back again, as expected of a great god." Following the Wind saw the smile on her face, and a wave of disgust welled up in his heart. Before she looked at him as if he was her enemy, and now she was smiling. She was simply crazy. "Even if you changed your account, you are still a weakling," Following the Wind said coldly. Ning Shu smiled and said, "Is that so? Sooner or later, I will kill you back to the beginner village. Who knows who will be the one returning to the beginner village?" Following the Wind said coldly. Following the Wind narrowed his eyes, seeing that the other's level wasn't very high. He sneered, "Now I will let you return to the beginner village. Once you reach the beginner village, I will kill you back to the beginner village." Ning Shu rubbed his chin and nodded. "This is really a good idea. In the future, I will kill you back to the beginner village again and again. Following the Wind's eyes became fierce, and he wanted to make a move. Ning Shu wasn't afraid of following the wind at all, it was a good opportunity to test out his own code. Lost Mimi blocked following the wind. In front of following the wind, Ning Shu asked, "Sister, why do you always want to fight with our gang leader? If you have something to say, say it properly." Ning Shu looked at the naive and cute Lost Mimi. Why is she protecting following the wind? Ning Shu suddenly said, "Because following the wind deceived my sister's feelings, I came to find him for revenge." Lost Mimi was stunned. Deceived feelings? Following the Wind's face darkened. He pushed Lost Mimi behind him, looked at Ning Shu and said coldly, "You are spreading rumors. I didn't deceive a girl's feelings at all." Following the wind directly pulled out his sword and chopped at Ning Shu's head. Ning Shu dodged following the Wind's attack, and coldly said, "You can't win in words, so you attack. Aren't you just angry out of humiliation?" Lost Mimi bit her lips and looked at Ning Shu, and then looked at following the wind. Following the wind felt that Lost Mimi, this girl, was quite interesting, and didn't want her to misunderstand, so immediately Ning Shu coldly scolded, "Shut up." Chapter 371. Following the Cool Breeze saw that Ning Shu always put the title of a heartless man on his head, especially in front of Lost Mimi, this little girl, and his heart immediately became angry. Fuck, he really wanted to kill this crazy woman, it was simply too bad. "You want me to shut up, so I'll shut up, why would I listen to your words?" Ning Shu sneered. "Come and hit me, even if you kill me, I'll still say it." Lost Mimi pouted her cherry red lips and snorted, then turned her head and did not look at following the Cool Breeze. Following the Cool Breeze took a deep breath, thinking about what sins he had committed in his previous life to meet such a crazy person in this life, and it was even a female crazy person, who completely relied on her brain to imagine things. Following the Cool Breeze saw that the little girl was angry, and looked at Ning Shu with an even colder gaze. Holding a sharp sword in his hand, he released a big move towards Ning Shu, really wanting to beat Ning Shu into ashes. Ning Shu very straightforwardly laughed and directly jumped away, then with a point of his finger, the grass under, following the Cool Breeze's feet instantly grew into vines, entangling, following the Cool Breeze's feet. Following the Cool Breeze was entangled by the vines and could not break free, so he directly used his sword to cut off the vines, but as soon as he cut off the vines, new vines immediately grew out to entangle him. Following the Cool Breeze flipped in the air, but as soon as he touched the ground, vines would immediately grow out from his feet, making following the Cool Breeze very annoyed. Ning Shu bared his teeth and said to following the Cool Breeze, "This is my pet, you'll be firmly entangled by it." This 1,000-mile vines code had been modified by her, making it abnormally strong, and the ability to entangle was infinitely expanded. It was simply awesome. Following the Cool Breeze was finally entangled by the vines, his hands and feet were entangled, and he did not have the slightest ability to resist. Ning Shu cracked his fingers, held the big sword in his hand, and walked step by step towards following the Cool Breeze. Slash by slash, he slowly cut down, following the Cool Breeze's level. Lost Mimi saw that following the Cool Breeze was entangled and could not break free from the vines, so she anxiously said to Icy Lotus, quickly save the guild leader. Icy Lotus's face flashed a gloomy color, she shook her head and said, "I can't beat her at all, what's the use of me going over this?" Lost Mimi was so anxious that her eyes turned red. "What should I do? What should I do?" Lost Mimi saw the female player with the ID, "This palace is here again," approach the guild master who had no power to resist like a demon. She took a deep breath and wanted to rush over to save, following the breeze. There was no way to see, following Cool Breeze, being bullied like this. "This palace is coming again," was really too unreasonable. Clear Lotus saw that Lost Mimi was about to righteously rush over, so she quickly pulled her back and said, "What are you doing? What's the use of you going over? Our levels aren't high to begin with, What if we annoy her and she kills us and drops our levels? But I can't just stand by and watch the gang leader become like this. Lost Mimi saw, following the breeze, continuously cutting down the vines. The sword in his hand emitted a roaring fire dragon, but these vines seemed to be endless. After being cut down, they grew back again. I've already informed the rest of the gang. They're already on their way here. We're just waiting for them to arrive. But Lost Mimi kept staring at, blown by the breeze. That's enough. Even if you rush up, you won't be able to help Sect Master. Icy Lotus sounded impatient, but Lost Mimi didn't notice it. She apologized to Icy Lotus, I'm sorry. Lost Mimi said as she rushed in front of Ning Shu. She opened her arms to block Ning Shu, not letting Ning Shu go with the wind. Ning Shu was speechless. Seeing Lost Mimi standing in front of him with a strong and resolute face, Ning Shu was suddenly speechless. He didn't know what to say at all. He felt that he was really a bad guy. Oh, he. When, following the breeze, saw Lost Mimi's actions, his heart was unspeakably complicated. This girl was really an idiot. She wouldn't really be killed. This was just a game. Looking at such a pure and serious girl, something took root and sprouted in, blown by the wind's heart, breaking open his heart. Little idiot, go to the side. There's nothing for you to do here. Following the breeze, shouted at Lost Mimi. Her level was very low, and she was also a medicine master who didn't have any battle experience. What was the use of her blocking in front? The most important thing was that in the holographic game, one could feel pain. If this queen came back and made a move on Lost Mimi would feel a lot of pain. The pain was real. I won't let her hurt you. Lost Mimi turned her head and shouted at, following the breeze. Ning Shu was speechless. Now she was the bad guy who broke up the Mandarin ducks. Oh, he, sister, following the breeze, is not the kind of person who deceives other people's feelings. There must be some misunderstanding between the two of you. You can talk it out. Attacking as soon as you meet is not a solution. Sister, can you let go of gang leader? Lost Mimi, Ning Shu explained. Ning Shu was speechless. The female lead was so kind. What should she do? No matter what she did, she felt that she was a bad guy. What should she do? Ning Shu directly let a vine drag Lost Mimi away. He didn't kill her and drop her level. Lost Mimi, who was being dragged away by the vines, was so scared that her face turned pale and she screamed. When, following the breeze, saw this situation, he did not care about the vines around him and cut off the vines that were wrapped around Lost Mimi's ankle. But, following the breeze, himself was completely entangled by the vines. His 4 limbs were entangled. Under the burden of Lost Mimi, following the breeze, completely lost his fighting strength. Go to the side. Following the breeze, shouted at Lost Mimi. His face was a bit ferocious. Lost Mimi immediately started crying. She felt very wronged in her heart. She was trying to save him, yet the clan leader was still so fierce to her. However, when she saw that, following Cool Breeze, was being controlled, Lost Mimi felt a dull pain in her heart. She simply did not know why. She kept feeling very uncomfortable. She even resented Ning Shu. Ning Shu shouted, "You vicious woman." "I'm vicious, I'm proud." Ning Shu glanced at Lost Mimi and directly went in front of Following the Breeze. He laughed coldly. "Let's see who will go to the novice village first." Ning Shu took the big knife and slashed at Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze was in so much pain that his face turned pale. In a short while, Following the Breeze was killed by Ning Shu and dropped 2 levels. Ning Shu was very happy to slash people. Following the Breeze looked at Ning Shu with even more resentment and loathing. Chapter 372. following the cool breeze, was entangled by the vines and could not move. He was like a fish on a chopping board, being slashed by the woman in front of him. His level dropped rapidly like a broken elevator, and the pain of being slashed by the knife was the most infuriating. Following the cool breeze, looked at Ning Shu with bloodshot eyes. Ning Shu tilted his head and looked at, following the cool breeze, and said, "You don't like knives?" Ning Shu put away the knife and took out a whip. The pitch-black whip, with a flick of it, there was an explosive sound in the air. Following the cool breeze, S pupils trembled, clearly stunned. He finally confirmed that he had really met a crazy person. Ning Shu swung her whip, and with a crackling sound, it landed on Following the Breeze's body. Following the Breeze's level dropped rapidly, and the whip landed on Following the Breeze's body, causing it to feel a burning pain. The two little girls next to him were stunned. Lost Mimi covered her mouth and cried. The last Lost Mimi could not take it anymore. Ning Shu roared, "You're so cruel, how can you be like this?" Ning Shu smiled, "There's nothing I can't do." If she and, Following the Cool Breeze, were to exchange places, and, Following the Cool Breeze, treated her like this, Lost Mimi would probably think that the clan leader was mighty and domineering. The double standard was too serious. Just as, Following the Cool Breeze, was about to be killed back to the beginner village, Following the Cool Breeze, few companions finally arrived. Lost Mimi saw that her savior had finally arrived, and cried towards the few people, "Hurry and save the clan leader is being tortured by that woman, she's so scary." When the few people saw, Following the Cool Breeze's level, they were simply stunned. They quickly destroyed the vines on, Following the Cool Breeze's body. Ning Shu blew on his whip and lashed out at, Following the Cool Breeze, making the few people's faces turn black and their faces tremble. The burly man, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, looked at Ning Shu and said darkly, "Don't go too far." The few of them stared at Ning Shu with unfriendly eyes. Ning Shu sneered, "You've gone too far. Your dragon gang put out a bounty for other players to kill me. You've gone too far." The few of them worked together to bring Follow the Breeze down. Follow the Breeze's expression was indifferent as he pointed at Ning Shu and said, "I will make you pay the price. You can't stay in this game anymore." Ning Shu patted her chest and said, "I'm so scared. You should raise your novice level first before we talk." Ning Shu pointed his whip at, Following the Breeze, and said, "That's what I said. I'll make sure you can't stay in this game any longer." Following the Breeze's expression was extremely ugly. He stared at Ning Shu and then looked away. "You've succeeded in pissing me off." Follow the Breeze turned around and left. The other people frowned and glanced at Ning Shu. In the end, they all followed Follow the Breeze. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, Ning Shu grinned, revealing his white teeth. He made a throat-slitting gesture towards Ning Shu, "No matter who you are, you're really out of luck. If we get serious, you might not be able to bear the consequences." Ning Shu said indifferently, "There's nothing that I can't bear." Following the Breeze saw that Lost Mimi was in a daze and his voice was filled with warmth. "Girl, let's go. What are you still standing there for?" Previously, Lost Mimi's actions made Following the Breeze feel very touched. There was a girl who was willing to stand up for him when he was in danger. Although her strength was very weak, it still made Following the Breeze feel warm in his heart. Before, he felt that this girl was stupid. Now, he felt that this girl was really stupid. Stupid to the point that she was cute and made people feel sorry for her. Icy Clear Lotus saw that, with the cool breeze, only called Lost Mimi, and did not pay attention to her at all. She immediately bit her lips and felt indignant in her heart. Why did these people only see Lost Mimi, and were all comforting her? If she did not call people to save Following the Breeze, would Following the Breeze be able to escape from the hands of This Palace is Coming Again? Lost Mimi was so stupid and would only cause trouble. Following the Breeze was tied up because Lost Mimi dragged him down. Why did, following the breeze, not blame her? People who did the right thing did not have a single word of praise. People who caused trouble without brains could still get other people's attention and praise. Icy Clear Lotus could not understand. Why was this? Why did, following the breeze, only place his eyes on this stupid girl? Icy Clear Lotus looked at Lost Mimi, who was crying and laughing at Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze was even gently wiping away her tears. Annoyance and jealousy rose in her heart. Why did, Following the Breeze, only like Lost Mimi? Why? Ning Shu kept the 1,000-mile vine. He cleared the intermediate level instance dungeon and prepared to return to the city. But on the way back, Ning Shu clearly felt that there was something wrong with the way people looked at him. Among them were quite a few high-level players. Moreover, they were the kind of high-level gods. The way these people looked at him was like he was a piece of high-quality equipment. Ning Shu was very vigilant in his heart, but he was still blocked by a player. Ning Shu looked at this person. He did not recognize him, but his level was very high. He was just a bit lower than Following the Breeze, who did not level up. Why are you blocking me? Don't tell me you want to kill me. Ning Shu looked at him. His level was not low, so it would take some effort to get rid of him. This player with the ID Lousy Invincible Handsome looked at Ning Shu without any malice and said, "You can only blame your bad luck. Now that Following the Dragon Gang has increased the rewards, just a full attribute triple cross flat top swallow wing purple gold crown is enough to make people go crazy. There are also a lot of other high-quality equipment." Ning Shu had heard of this equipment. The purple gold crown was the most popular equipment among male players. At the same time, it was also the most expensive equipment. It was simply a tool to show off. If it was converted to RMB, it would be worth at least 10,000 yuan. Ning Shu sneered. Following the Breeze was really willing to use a large sum of money to lure players. He made her face enemies from all sides, and in the end, she could only leave the game world. But, Following the Breeze did not know that she was originally a part of this game. If she could register an infinite number of IDs. Moreover, she could change her appearance and continue to mingle in this game. If she was a real player, he was afraid that she would really be attacked by Following the Breeze to the point that she would not dare to enter this game again. Ning Shu felt that Following the Breeze in real life should have a rich family, and the people that Following the Breeze hung out with should not be bad either. Right now, they were ganging up against her. Following the Breeze had been killed by her so many levels. If she lost another 2 levels, she would really have to go back to the novice village to relevel. Right now, she was determined to take revenge on her. Today, there was Lousy Invincible Handsome. Tomorrow, there would be Lousy Invincible Handsome. Players who wanted equipment would all come to find trouble with her. Chapter 373. Towards these people who wanted to use him as a stepping stone to obtain equipment, Ning Shu would not tolerate them. He released the 1,000-mile vine and entangled the players who were blocking him. Invincible Commander, who was entangled by the 1,000-mile vine, struggled violently. Seeing Ning Shu's cold face, he smiled and said, "Beauty, I was just joking. I just wanted to see what it was like to make the Dragon Gang's great god jump up in anger." Ning Shu grinned, "You're too modest. You're also a great god." Ning Shu took a knife and cut down Invincible Commander's level. Everyone was not a good person, so there was no need to talk about mercy. If his strength was too weak, these people would swarm over and treat him as a money tree. They would treat him as a boss that dropped equipment. He was much more pitiful than these people. After cutting down the person's level, Ning Shu very carefully left. Invincible Commander grimaced as he looked at Ning Shu's back. This woman was really too violent. It would be very difficult to get back after being cut down. It seemed like this equipment was not that easy to get. following the cool breeze, made all the players target her. She definitely wanted to get revenge. Because the ID, following the cool breeze, was a great god account, following the cool breeze, could not bear to part with this account. Even if it took a long time to level back, following the cool breeze still wanted to level back. Therefore, Ning Shu was now wasting time with following the cool breeze. Whichever instance following the cool breeze appeared in, Ning Shu would immediately rush over and kill following the cool breeze. As long as he leveled up, he would take advantage of the fact that his level was not high to kill him back to the beginner village. Let him start over from the beginner village. He didn't know if, with the breeze, was really inseparable from Lost Mimi. Lost Mimi was just an alchemist that didn't have any battle power. With the breeze, even brought Lost Mimi along to level up. Lost Mimi was very happy. To be able to accompany the clan master back to the peak, this kind of excitement was even happier than leveling up by herself. So when Ning Shu killed following the breeze, Lost Mimi would immediately condemn Ning Shu, saying that Ning Shu was a perverted woman. Ning Shu gladly accepted the title of perverted woman. He didn't even speak to Lost Mimi. This was because she only considered things from her own point of view. She only saw that her favorite, following the breeze, had been killed and his level dropped, but she did not see the trouble that, following the breeze, had brought to her by throwing money. Ning Shu didn't want to argue with her at all because it didn't make sense. Every time, following the breeze, was killed by Ning Shu, he would use a very hateful and disgusted expression to look at Ning Shu. In addition to Lost Mimi's condemning gaze, Ning Shu, who was bathed in the "you are a bad person" gaze, felt very sour. Ning Shu knew that the hatred between following the breeze and himself was irreconcilable, so every time he acted, he was very ruthless. Following the breeze was killed by Ning Shu and sent back to the beginner village twice. Following the breeze also learned to be obedient. Every time he went to the instance dungeon, he would bring a few of his companions to escort him. He could see that this woman was crazy. Ning Shu saw that, following the breeze, had called his people. That serious look made Ning Shu directly laugh. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, touched his head and looked at Ning Shu. As a person, don't go overboard. Don't think that just because you have a high level, we can still kill you. Ning Shu's legs were shaking. Come on, come and kill me. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, sneered, you want me to fuck you, right? A crazy woman like you, even if you lay down and let me fuck you, I wouldn't fuck you. Ning Shu was speechless. Do you think you can fuck me just because you want to? Ning Shu sneered. Following the breeze, companions' levels weren't low, and every one of them was a great god. Following the breeze, level looked very shabby. Your level is really low. Look at your team members, every one of their levels is higher than yours. You still have the nerve to be the leader of the dragon follower gang. If you want some face, hurry up and give up your position. Ning Shu sneered maliciously. Following the breeze, face was a bit ugly. Seeing that his own team members' levels were indeed much higher than his face became even uglier. Following the breeze had a very strong ego. This account should be the highest level out of all of them, but now, too many of them had been killed by this crazy woman. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, viciously looked at Ning Shu, you are trying to sow discord between us. Let me tell you, the boss is the boss. No matter what level he is our boss. Yes. The monsters are very strong, you go first, immediately said, and then said to, following the breeze, boss, you will be able to quickly raise your level. You roam big milk, what kind of intentions do you have, woman? Why do you always go against us? If you have any grievances, then say it clearly. Why are you using underhanded methods like this? Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. He didn't think that, following the breeze, and his companions would support him so strongly. Supporting him wasn't right, following the breeze, was the leader of this team. He reckoned that in reality, following the breeze's family background was definitely better than these people, and they were subconsciously trying to curry favor with following the breeze. However, Ning Shu only cared that he couldn't stay in this game any longer. He also didn't say much to these people. It was obvious that he wanted to fight. Ning Shu directly released his own 1,000-mile vine, entangling these people. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, sneered, "You think that you are the only one with good things." A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south also had a 1,000-mile vine. Although the vine wasn't as big as Ning Shu's, the 2,000-mile vines were entangled together. They were fighting with each other, and a large area of thorns intertwined with each other. Ning Shu laughed and snapped his fingers. His 1,000-mile vine immediately became bigger. Under everyone's gaze, a chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south's vines were all swallowed up by Ning Shu's 1,000-mile vine. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south frowned. The 1,000-mile vine also has this kind of effect? After this period of dungeon clearing, Ning Shu's level was already very high. At the very least, he was around the same level as following the breeze and his other companions. Moreover, he had the 1,000-mile vine with a very strong entanglement ability. Ning Shu immediately let the 1,000-mile vine entangle these people. However, a chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, and the others weren't just for show. They had a lot of equipment on them, and they were all very strong. The vines couldn't even get close to their bodies. Ning Shu stepped on the vines and held his broadsword to fight with these people. Following the breeze, and Lost Mimi, as well as Icy Lotus, who didn't have much of a sense of existence, watched from the side. Following the breeze, clenched his fists. This kind of feeling of being weak really didn't feel good. Watching others fight so coolly, it made following the breeze's self-esteem shatter into pieces. Seeing his own team members stronger than him, this kind of feeling made him feel very bad. Chapter 374. Because of the existence of the 1,000-mile vine, Ning Shu and the few people were equally matched in the battle. Not only did the few people have to deal with Ning Shu, they also had to be harassed by the 1,000-mile vine. For a moment, both sides were locked in battle. Ning Shu glanced at following the cool breeze, who was being protected by a few people, and hurriedly let the 1,000-mile vine drag following the cool breeze over. Following the cool breeze saw this woman's gaze on him and felt that something was wrong. Then, he saw the overwhelming number of vines rushing towards him. Following the cool breeze reflexively protected Lost Mimi behind him and tightly held the sword in his hand as he chopped at the vines that wanted to entangle him. Following the breeze only protected the Lost Mimi and did not care about Icy Lotus at the side. Icy Lotus was quickly entangled by the vines. Although she did not die, she was still in pain from being strangled by the vines. Icy Clear Lotus blushed as she looked at Lost Mimi, who was behind following the breeze. Seeing following the breeze protecting her so much, her face twisted with jealousy. She also liked Follow the Breeze, but Follow the Breeze only liked Lost Mimi. Why, how was she inferior to that stupid Lost Mimi? Why did these people all like Lost Mimi, saying that she was a person with heavy thoughts and did not like her? Why could Lost Mimi be easily forgiven when she got into trouble? Was it okay because she was stupid? Just because she was a little more meticulous, they said that she was a person with deep thoughts. Based on what? The few people saw that Ning Shu was so sinister. When he was fighting with them, he actually went to sneak attack their boss. Following the cool breeze directly released an incomparably bright ball of light. This ball of light exploded and emitted a strong light, burning the vines. Ning Shu saw that the various attributes of the vines were decreasing and immediately kept the vines. He squinted his eyes and looked at Cool Breeze. This healer actually had such a strong battle strength. When Ning Shu kept the vines, the few people were very concerned about following the cool breeze. Following the cool breeze shook his head, indicating that he was fine. Lost Mimi stood out and said to Ning Shu, "Sister, why do you always want to hurt our leader? Because I'm happy. Ning Shu said with a smile. Lost Mimi pouted and said, I know you're doing this because you like gang leader. You're doing this to attract his attention. You can't get what you want and hate because of love. Don't you want someone to live a better life if you love him? Ning Shu, haha, who told you that? Ning Shu's Lost Mimi asked. This little girl even knew that she couldn't get what she wanted, and that her love had turned into hate. Lost Mimi betrayed her partner without hesitation. She pointed at Icy Purity and said, it was Bing Bing who told me. Bing Bing is very smart. She saw through your thoughts long ago. Icy Purity, who was coughing because of the vines, stared dumbfoundedly at her partner. She then looked at Ning Shu, who didn't have any expression on his face. Following the cool breeze, and the others all stared at Icy Purity. Icy Purity's face immediately turned red. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. Bing Bing, don't you think so? Using the method of hurting others to attract attention. Since you really like him, you should treat him well and not hurt him like this. Bing Bing, this is what you told me. Lost Mimi walked over and grabbed Icy Purity's hand. She said to Icy Purity with a face full of certainty. Ning Shu really wanted to light a candle for this Icy Lotus clean girl. Icy Clear Lotus looked at Lost Mimi's face. At this time, the other party could still smile, and it was this kind of silly smile. Icy Clear Lotus couldn't help but want to slap her in the face. She stole the person she liked, and now she said these kinds of words to such a strong player. Was she looking down on her for not dying fast enough? Ning Shu used a move on Icy Purity, and directly killed her by a level. He coldly said, don't use your thoughts to guess at me. Instigating Lost Mimi to hate her was just following the cool breeze. When Ning Shu made his move, following the cool breeze had already pulled Lost Mimi to the side. Ning Shu's attack wasn't strong and the others could completely block it. But for some reason, they didn't help Icy Purity to block the attack. Icy Purity felt pain all over her body. She knew that the other party was unhappy because of her words and punished her. He warned her not to speak carelessly, otherwise she would be killed and sent back to the beginner village. Icy Purity knew that the difference in strength between her and this queen is here again was too big. She didn't dare to show any hostility towards this queen is here again. But in her heart, she hated Lost Mimi. How could she say what they had said in private? Lost Mimi saw that her good friend was attacked and hurriedly ran over to Icy Purity and said anxiously, Icy Purity, are you okay? How can you do this? You were seen through by Icy Purity, so you attacked Icy Purity. How can you be like this? Even if you have great strength in the game, in reality you are still a woman who is not worthy of love. Lost Mimi angrily roared at Ning Shu. She wanted to stand up for her friend. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He didn't even look at Lost Mimi and Icy Purity. He looked at the few men who didn't care about the matter and shrugged his shoulders. Are we still going to fight? Today we didn't kill, following the cool breeze, and drop his level. Count him lucky. I hope that you guys can protect him at any time in the future. Tisk tsk tsk, following the cool breeze, Great God is now a soft-footed shrimp. He is a trash who needs people to protect him wherever he goes. Ning Shu said very viciously. Following the cool breeze, tightly clenched his fist. He looked at Ning Shu with eyes full of anger and disgust. He had never seen such a hateful woman before. You are talking nonsense. Our guild master is not a soft-footed shrimp. You are bullying our guild master just because your level is high. What kind of man are you? Lost Mimi saw that her sweetheart was being insulted and quickly said. Ning Shu looked at her and said, you talk too much. Why are you jumping up and down? Is it fun? Looking at her was really annoying. He really wanted to kill her. But looking at Icy Purity's gloomy face and looking at Lost Mimi with eyes full of hatred and jealousy, he didn't make a move. There was a big bad wolf by the little cutie's side. She would always be at a disadvantage. What a good drama of close friends turning against each other. Ning Shu felt that if he was Icy Purity, he would definitely be blackened. She was so righteous in tricking her teammates. Moreover, it would make people feel that she was pure and cute. She would say whatever she wanted to say. Wasn't that pure and cute? I will make you regret it. Following the cool breeze, coldly looked at Ning Shu. His eyes were full of coldness, whether it is in the game or in reality. Chapter 375. This grudge had not only intensified in the game, it had also spread to the real world. Following the breeze, had already been completely pissed off by this woman and wanted to use his power in the real world to make this woman pay the price. When Ning Shu heard that, Following the breeze, wanted to deal with him in the real world, he only laughed, "If you have the ability, come find me," following the breeze. A chrysanthemum blossomed southward, saw that this woman was still so stubborn and sneered, "You will die very miserably. Provoking the boss, you are really going to be unlucky." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and said, "Can you take out the name of the great god, following the breeze, in the real world and let me see if it can scare me to the ground?" Balls Cold Without Pants said, "Following the breeze's family is the richest family in Qinghai City. A casual word from them can make it difficult for you to move a single step in the real world." Ning Shu seemed to chuckle and said, "No wonder you all serve Following the Breeze, like you serve the Crown Prince. Aren't you just trying to curry favor with him?" Following the Breeze coldly said, "We are childhood friends, so we treat each other as equals." Hearing Following the Breeze say treat each other as equals, the others did not say anything. Ning Shu did not comment. "What equal treatment? Don't joke around. Boss, you are a rich family's young master." Lost Mimi curled her lips and did not look very happy. "What, I can't be a rich family's young master?" Following the Breeze raised his eyebrows and asked with interest. Lost Mimi curled her lips and said, "Rich people are not good people." "How are we not good people?" A chrysanthemum blossomed southward, touched his head and said unhappily. Lost Mimi stubbornly said, "In any case, we are not good people." Ning Shu. "Just you wait, great god, Following the Breeze. I will kill you every time I see you," Ning Shu said and turned to leave. "Boss, she's too arrogant," a chrysanthemum blossomed southward said as he looked at Ning Shu's back. Following the Breeze coldly said, "Tomorrow, I will temporarily not enter the game." When the few of them heard Follow the Breeze say this, they knew what Follow the Breeze meant. It was obvious that he wanted to human search this woman and make "This queen is here again" in reality completely kneel down so that she would not be able to strut around in the game. Ning Shu didn't care at all about Cool Breeze checking him. What could she find out? It was just a game's programming code. No one would be able to guess her identity. Go ahead and check. Ning Shu went to clear a few Ultimate Instance dungeons, allowing her experience bar to rise rapidly. Moreover, there were many top-grade equipment, and she also leveled up the 1,000-mile vine. Now that her strength was strong, Ning Shu immediately went to find Following the Breeze. After not seeing him for a while, Following the Breeze also leveled up. This time, when Ning Shu met Following Cool Breeze again, Following Cool Breeze did not bring Lost Mimi with him. She did not know if it was because they quarreled or because he felt that it was too dangerous to bring Lost Mimi with him. When Following the Breeze saw Ning Shu, his face darkened. His expression was very complicated. He spent so much time, but he actually couldn't find out who this person was. Really, it was as if this person didn't exist in this world. It was simply inconceivable. Following the Breeze suspected that this woman's family was stronger than his, otherwise how could he not find out? Moreover, Following the Breeze couldn't remember when he had cheated a girl's feelings. This woman stared at him without letting go, making Following the Breeze feel extremely disgusted. Ning Shu looked around and asked, Following the Breeze, why is there no one protecting you today? You actually dare to come out to clear an instant's dungeon alone? Ning Shu's tone was filled with disdain. Following the Breeze narrowed his eyes and looked at her. He suddenly asked, Why do you keep following me like this? I've already said it many times. Ning Shu said indifferently. He pulled out his own knife and prepared to kill Following the Breeze. Then, I want to know who you are, and who is the girl that I hurt? Following the Breeze stared at Ning Shu and asked. Ning Shu was a little surprised. This was the first time he saw Following the Breeze speak to him so politely. Moreover, it was using the method of an equal status. In the past, Following the Breeze would look at him with disdain. What was wrong with him now? Regardless of what was wrong with him, Ning Shu raised his large knife and smashed it towards Following the Breeze's head. Following the Breeze resisted Ning Shu's attack. Although it was strenuous, he still managed to persevere. Following the Breeze now only wanted to level by himself. Even if he knew that this crazy woman would come looking for him, Following the Breeze still did not want to lose face in front of his teammates. He did not even bring Lost Mimi. Ning Shu's current level was much higher than Following the Breeze. He did not even release the 1,000-mile vine before killing Following the Breeze back to the beginner village. Following the Breeze's face was extremely ugly. Ning Shu roared, Who are you? Ning Shu did not speak. After killing Following the Breeze back to the beginner village, Ning Shu felt extremely happy. Finally, he also let Following the Breeze return to the beginner village. In the following days, every time Following the Breeze wanted to level, Ning Shu would immediately rush over and kill Following the Breeze. Once Following the Breeze leveled up, Ning Shu would go and kill Following the Breeze. It was like shaving wool. When it grew, he shaved it. Following the Breeze was simply going crazy. Being bullied so badly, Following the Breeze even more did not want his teammates to know. He felt that it was extremely embarrassing. Seeing the opponent become stronger and stronger, Following the Breeze felt that he could not level up anymore. With such a crazy woman staring at him, no one would be able to stand it. So, Following the Breeze decided to change accounts. When Ning Shu was learning the code, he heard the world news. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south took over as the leader of the Dragon Gang. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south became the leader of the Dragon Gang? Then what about Following the Breeze? Could it be that he left the gaming world? But the system did not notify him that the quest was completed. That meant that Following the Breeze had not left yet. The most likely thing was to change accounts and start over. Ning Shu hacked into the game's main system to check the newly registered accounts. He found a new account that looked a bit like Following the Breeze. The new account's ID was Lost Tibetan Mastiff. Lost Tibetan Mastiff. There was a Lost Mimi, and then there was a Lost Tibetan Mastiff. Could it be a couple account? Didn't Following the Breeze take the fresh and high-end route? How come there was such a big change in style? Ning Shu felt that he needed to test whether or not this Lost Tibetan Mastiff was Following the Breeze. Ning Shu found the Lost Tibetan Mastiff that was farming experience. His face was a bit similar to Following the Breeze, but it didn't seem like it. It was probably set, and the similarity with the original was estimated to be only 10%. Chapter 376. Ning Shu blocked Lost Tibetan Mastiff and shouted, Following the cool breeze? Following the cool breeze, body immediately stiffened. He stared at Ning Shu and did not deny it. You're really amazing. He had just opened a new account not long ago and wanted to quickly level up. He had even spent money to buy a lot of equipment, but this crazy woman had come knocking on his door again. Crazy. Ning Shu immediately laughed and happily said, It really is you. I didn't think that you would change to a new account, and your level is not bad. Following the cool breeze, looked at the woman who was as happy as an old friend. His heart was filled with disgust. Why didn't this crazy woman just go and die? Ning Shu asked again, is your ID and Lost Mimi a couple account? Following the cool breeze, go and die, crazy woman. Ning Shu ignored, following the cool breeze, twisted face and said with admiration, I really didn't think that you would actually give up on, following the cool breeze. This is a godly account. Being killed by a crazy woman like you to the point that I can't even level up. What's the point of having it? Following the cool breeze, heart was filled with hatred for this woman. At the same time, he felt that being entangled by this crazy woman was truly a tragedy. For a moment, following the cool breeze, was somewhat dispirited. He had originally wanted to subdue this woman in the real world, but he did not think that he would not be able to find such a person. Following the cool breeze, heart was filled with curses. Ning Shu smacked his lips and said, actually, I still like your, following the cool breeze, name. Why did you have to be so stubborn and insist on having the same style as Lost Mimi? AI, what a pity. Why did you have to be called a Tibetan Mastiff? Following the cool breeze, go and die bitch. I don't want to chat with you. After all, I'm the first person to find you. I don't have anything to say. You probably didn't tell your followers about this account, right? After all, it's not a good thing to start a new account. Wait until you reach the top again and appear in front of them as a god. Ning Shu acted as if he was chatting with an old friend. Following the breeze, did not want to bother with her at all. He released his own spirit beast and prepared to leave. Ning Shu directly released the 1,000-mile vine and entangled, following the breeze. Then, Ning Shu cut off all of following the breeze's levels, leaving nothing behind. Following the cool breeze, once again returned to the New Book Village to stay. Following the cool breeze, now felt more melancholy than hatred. Just what kind of power supported this woman to find trouble with him again and again, insisting on killing him, again and again without knowing fatigue? Ning Shu suddenly liked the feeling of a cat chasing a mouse. Every time, following the cool breeze, leveled up, Ning Shu would suddenly appear and kill, following the cool breeze, change accounts and kill again, and then kill again, and then kill again, and then kill again. Following the cool breeze, did not even know how many times he had been killed by this crazy woman. Right now, he did not even have the slightest bit of passion to level up. Every time he leveled up, this woman would appear on time and kill him once. After killing him, she would chat with him as if they were good friends. Crazy. No matter how he changed accounts, this crazy woman would always be able to find him. What the hell was wrong with this person? Following the cool breeze, suspected that this woman was a hacker. That was why she could find him so accurately. What kind of spirit was this? Numb. Ning Shu kept his broadsword and comforted, following the cool breeze, by saying, I believe that you will be able to level up very quickly. Good luck, I think very highly of you. Following the cool breeze, did not appear in the game anymore. Ning Shu could not find the target and would always invade the game's main system without leaving a trace, trying to filter out the possible ID of following the cool breeze. But Ning Shu did not discover following the cool breeze. Ning Shu did not believe that following the cool breeze would just leave like this. As a high and mighty young master of a rich family, a young master with an extremely high self-esteem would just leave like this? Ning Shu even ran to the following dragon gang to find following the cool breeze, but was told that following the cool breeze would not play this game anymore. Not only did following the cool breeze not appear, Lost Mimi and Ice Clear Lotus also did not appear. Could it be that they went to develop feelings in the real world? She had a premonition that this would be another love story with pink bubbles. However, she really couldn't care less about the things in the real world. Ning Shu didn't want to care too much about things outside of the quest. All the grudges were in the game. Since, blown with the wind, wouldn't appear in the game, Ning Shu could not care less. However, she felt that, following the cool breeze, gave up too easily. It gave Ning Shu a very uneasy feeling. Of course, Ning Shu did not know that in following the cool breeze's heart, she was a crazy woman. Moreover, she was a crazy woman. Moreover, following the cool breeze felt that Ning Shu had power in the real world. In addition, he could not compete with Ning Shu in the game. It was not like this was the only game. In any case, following the cool breeze did not want to see this crazy woman at all. He took his little girlfriend and directly left. Lost Mimi felt that she could not leave her good friend behind. She brought the dark, ice-clear lotus by her side. In the real world, Lost Mimi and ice-clear lotus were good friends. However, when the two girls fell in love with the same boy, it was obvious what would happen. Especially when one of them had turned dark. Ning Shu did not train and clear dungeons anymore. Her level was already very high. She spent most of her time learning the code. She wanted to strive for perfection. She wanted to completely master the whole thing so that it would be easier to complete the mission in the future. Who knows, maybe this knowledge would be of great use. Not long after, the Following the Dragon gang also disbanded. Several members of Following the Cool Breeze also left the game. After all, playing the game had the meaning of accompanying the Crown Prince. Now that the Crown Prince was no longer here, there was no meaning in staying. Ning Shu's heart was somewhat unsure whether or not this mission was completed. This was because the original owner wanted to be a qualified and responsible NPC. However, she copied an NPC to replace her. If it was always an NPC, Ning Shu did not feel that the mission would be difficult to complete. Moreover, if the NPC had any abnormalities, it would be very easy to be scanned by the main game system and would be erased. However, the identity of a player was different. Moreover, Ning Shu felt that if the original owner came back to live in the game as a player, she would be able to communicate with others. She would not be confined to one place and could only move around in the area she was responsible for. The game world was very big, she could go anywhere she wanted. However, Ning Shu arbitrarily changed the original owner's wishes. Could the mission be considered completed? Ding, mission completed. Leaving the mission world. The sound of 2333 rang out. Ning Shu's head buzzed for a moment. When she remembered again, she was already in the system space. After staying in the game for so long, Ning Shu was somewhat unable to distinguish between reality and illusion. As usual, Ning Shu did not care about anything and went to sleep first. In a world, no matter how difficult the mission was, there would be many people and many things to do. If one did not organize everything for a long time, all the things would accumulate in one's heart. It would be unbearable. People with mental problems would see things that others could not see. Auditory hallucinations or visual hallucinations would cause them to have an emotional breakdown. Moreover, after experiencing so many worlds. Chapter 377. After a comfortable sleep, Ning Shu woke up. First, he took a watering can and sprinkled some water on the small potted plant. Then, he took a linen cloth and wiped the dust on the bookshelf. Although there was no dust in the system space, Ning Shu still carefully cleaned it. The most regrettable thing was that the soul state couldn't sweat. If he sweated, it would be very refreshing to sweat. After finishing, Ning Shu said, "Let's look at the points this time." Okay. Ning Shu's status panel appeared in front of him. Number, 23333 Name, Ning Shu, Beginner Task Taker, Age, 27 points, 170,000 30,000 Soul, 200 Life, 60 Wisdom, 80 Charm, 3 Luck, 34 Mental Power, 120 Martial Power, 40 Faith, 1 Qualifications, 26 Merit, 15-20 Skills, 5 Rings Shooting Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Absolute Martial Arts Beginner Rookie Honorary Title, War God Empress, Selfless Ancestor Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker Sister, Qinshi's Blessing, Leader Aura, Grass Blessing, Complete NPC's Wish, be a dutiful NPC. Let Sui Qingfeng not use her at will. Let Sui Qingfeng not be able to survive in the game. Mission completion progress, 80. Obtained 5 attribute points. Ning Shu saw that the mission progress was only 80. The experience was only 30,000. It could be said that it was the lowest as an official task taker. Moreover, the attribute points were only 5. The last time it was 25 points. Ning Shu pursed his lips. He knew that this mission was considered a failure. People really couldn't be self-righteous. The original owner wanted to be a dutiful NPC, but she let the original owner break away from the identity of an NPC. Ning Shu stood in his position and felt that this was a very good way of life. But for the original owner, it was not necessarily so. The original owner was a programming code born from the game's main system. Breaking away from the identity of an NPC would make her feel at a loss. My honey, the other's arsenic. Fortunately, Ning Shu learned the code. The original owner could return to her NPC identity. Otherwise, this mission would be considered a failure. Generally speaking, the things that Ning Shu learned would be left to the original owner. The original owner would have this skill, and so would Ning Shu. Ning Shu took a deep breath. He felt that he could not be so self-righteous in the future. Even though that was what he thought, Ning Shu still felt a bit disappointed because he hadn't obtained much from this world. 30,000 experience points and 5 attribute points. Ning Shu remained silent for a while. Then, he added all 5 attribute points to wisdom, and the attribute panel changed. Serial number, 23333 Name, Ning Shu, Beginner Mission Taker, Age, 27 points, 200,000 Soul Value, 200 HP, 60 Wisdom, 805 Charm, 3 Luck, 34 Spiritual Power, 120 Combat Power, 40 Faith, 1 Aptitude, 26 Merit, 35 Skills, 5th Ring Spear Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Peerless Martial Arts Novice. Honorary Title, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing, Leader's Aura, Grass Blessing. Seeing Ning Shu's disappointment, 23333 said, the original owner's wish is what she wants the most. You don't have to change her wish. I know. I was stupid this time. I took it for granted. Ning Shu nodded. 23333 was silent for a while. Then, he comforted Ning Shu, but at that time, it was the best choice. It didn't matter if you lost a few points. The most important thing was still your life. 70 points is the mission standard. Actually, missions are also graded according to their levels. For example, Pass, Excellent, and Perfect. According to the 4 levels, the points and attributes awarded are different. There's such a thing. Ning Shu was stunned. 23333 said, actually, you have a quest that gives you a perfect title. It's a primitive society. So, the points and attributes are higher. But this NPC quest can only be considered pass. Your way of doing things didn't make the original owner very happy, but completing the latter part of the quest can only be considered pass. Ning Shu nodded to show that he understood. Ning Shu opened the exchange shop and browsed through the items available. He wanted to see if there was anything that he could afford and that was more practical. After browsing for a while, Ning Shu found something called the Calm Aura. It was an item that allowed the player to remain calm. Ning Shu was very fond of the aura, but it was very expensive. It cost 150,000 points. Ning Shu had worked so hard to earn 200,000 points. If he bought the Calm Aura, he would be back to square one. Ning Shu pursed his lips. After a painful struggle, he finally bought the Calm Aura. Without his life, points were nothing. Ning Shu clicked on the exchange button. Then, he saw his points jump violently. In the end, he only had 50,000 points left. However, with the aura on him, Ningshu instantly felt his mind clear up. Even his depressed mood dissipated a little. His heart was calm and steady. However, Ningshu knew that these were all supplementary effects. In the end, he still had to rely on himself to complete the quest. Ningshu distributed some points and exchanged them for fasting pills, water, medicine, and detoxification pills. After everything was prepared, Ningshu began to cultivate his soul. Ningshu had always been cultivating peerless martial arts. First, Ningshu felt that this thing was not bad. After so long, he had developed feelings for it. He also felt that this secret manual must be very powerful. It must be. Second, Ningshu did not have enough points to exchange for high-level soul cultivation secret manuals. Secret manuals could easily cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of points. Ningshu could only look at them. Therefore, the same was true for mission takers. The stronger the person, the more resources they had. The weaker the person, the weaker they became. In the end, they would be eliminated. Ningshu waited until her soul was full before she stopped cultivating. Her soul was much stronger than when she first entered the system space. When this soul was able to condense into a physical body, it would be much easier to cultivate peerless martial arts. I can do it, Ningshu thought to himself. He would continue on the path of a mission taker. Then he would become an intermediate mission taker. Then he would become an advanced mission taker. He would travel through countless worlds. Ningshu's previously depressed heart was now boiling with blood. Ahead of him was a new journey. Our goal is the Sea of Stars. 2333 System Sir, enter the mission world. Ningshu said 2333. 2333 saw that Ningshu had swept away his dispirited appearance. His tone also relaxed a little. Okay. Good luck, Ningshu. Ningshu felt his mind go blank. When he could feel again, he found himself lying on a wooden bed. Around him were antique furniture and decorations. Ningshu knew that this mission should be set in ancient times. He just did not know what the original owner's wish was. Chapter 378. Ningshu looked around and found that the things around him were very exquisite. The host was wearing a satin coat with a floral pattern. The stitches were so fine that there was no hair at all. It seemed that the host was either rich or noble. Ningshu closed his eyes and began to end the plot. The host was called Wei Lingxian. She was the wife of An Yu, the first-rank general of Jinwei. They had a son and a daughter. They respected their mother-in-law and treated the servants well. They loved each other very much and didn't have a concubine in the backyard. There was a civil riot in Yunzhou. An Yu, the general of Jinwei, was ordered to rebel in Yunzhou. Yunzhou was the fief of the emperor's half-brother. After the emperor got the news, he hurriedly asked An Yu to suppress the rebels. An Yu hurried to Yunzhou and found that the whole family of the king of Yen had died in the battle. On his way back, An Yu met the orphans of the king of Yen. One of them was the daughter of the king of Yen, Princess Mingzhu, and the other was the youngest son of the king of Yen. In order to protect his only son, King of Yen ordered his beloved daughter, Princess Mingzhu, to protect his son and escape from the mansion that was about to be attacked by the rebels. Princess Mingzhu would lose her family overnight. If it weren't for her father's wish, she would have left with them. She disguised herself with her maid and encountered bandits. She was in great danger and was saved by An Yu. An Yu appeared in front of Princess Mingzhu like a god. He made Princess Mingzhu, who had lost everything, feel safe and warm. When she was desperate, An Yu saw a glimmer of hope. Like a god, An Yu gave Princess Mingzhu a new life and made her feel warm again. An Yu thought that he was responsible for protecting King of Yan's orphans since he failed to save them, so he escorted them all the way to the capital. And Yu often comforted Princess Mingzhu when he saw that she was in pain because of the loss of her family. Princess Mingzhu was the same age as his daughter. She comforted her patiently when she saw this 16-year-old girl suffer such a thing. And Yu's care and love made Princess Mingzhu fall in love with him. She had feelings for Yu, but she had to suppress her feelings because of her status. When they arrived in the capital, Yu took Princess Mingzhu and the little prince to the general's mansion. Yu felt responsible for Princess Mingzhu. The general's mansion welcomed Princess Mingzhu very much. Yu even specially built a courtyard for Princess Mingzhu so that she could live alone. He said that he must let Princess Mingzhu feel the warmth of home. Princess Mingzhu and Lingyun, who was of the same age, became good friends. Everyone in the general's mansion liked this weak but strong girl who shouldered the responsibility of revitalizing King Yan's mansion. Wei Lingxian's son, Yu, was 17 years old. He was in love with Princess Mingzhu, who was as gentle as water. Under the encouragement of his sister, Lingyun, he confessed to Princess Mingzhu. However, Princess Mingzhu loved Yu's father, Yu. Wei Lingxian found out about the relationship between her husband and Princess Mingzhu. She was dissatisfied with Princess Mingzhu and even did some things to stop Yu and Princess Mingzhu from getting together. She went to the palace to persuade the Empress Dowager to give Princess Mingzhu a marriage. The Empress Dowager arranged a good marriage for Princess Mingzhu, who was from a noble family in the capital. But when Princess Mingzhu heard the news, she almost collapsed. She knelt in front of the Empress Dowager and begged her to withdraw the engagement. She also told the Empress Dowager that she liked Yu and that she could only marry Yu in this life. The Empress Dowager was shocked and angry. Princess Mingzhu was going to be a concubine, and she was going to marry a man who was about the same age as her father. It would damage the social order of the imperial court. The Empress Dowager naturally wouldn't allow it. However, Princess Mingzhu said that she and Yu were in love with each other. It was true love. True love was not wrong. Princess Mingzhu knelt in front of Wei Lingxian and confessed that she loved Yu. She would rather be a concubine and stay with Yu like a cat or a dog. She only begged Wei Lingxian to forgive her. Wei Lingxian trembled with anger. Yu, who loved Princess Mingzhu, didn't agree. The Empress Dowager didn't dare to let a princess be a concubine. Lingyun blamed her good friend for letting her brother down and stealing her father. When Yu saw that everyone disapproved of his relationship with Princess Mingzhu and everyone was in pain because of it, he volunteered to go to war with a sorrowful heart. Princess Mingzhu secretly ran out of the capital and went to the battlefield alone to find Yu. Because of love, Yu was depressed. Yu, who lost the battle, decided to kill himself. At this time, Princess Mingzhu appeared in front of Yu. When they saw each other, they felt as if they had been separated for a lifetime. They couldn't contain their feelings anymore and decided not to be separated again. They survived together, but what greeted them was still overwhelming opposition. Princess Mingzhu became the target of public criticism. Princess Mingzhu didn't care about her status and felt wronged. She only hoped to resolve the knot in people's hearts with sincerity. In the end, she moved the Empress Dowager, who was the most opposed. Princess Mingzhu became Yu's concubine. Everyone was shocked by her bravery and fearlessness. Even the Empress Dowager supported her. Wei Lingxian humiliated and embarrassed Princess Mingzhu in all kinds of ways. This woman, who had lost almost everything, tortured Princess Mingzhu even more. Princess Mingzhu silently endured it, hoping to move Wei Lingxian with her true feelings. Yu, who liked Princess Mingzhu, was disheartened and got married in a fit of anger. He ignored his newly married wife and went to the battlefield. Yu knew his son's thoughts. In order to protect his son, he went to the battlefield with Princess Mingzhu. In the chaos, he was unfortunately shot and died in order to save Yu. Yu forgave his father. When Princess Mingzhu saw that Yu was dead, she wanted to die in the same year, month, and day with him. She entrusted her younger brother, the crown prince, to an Yu and committed suicide. After Princess Mingzhu's death, the Empress Dowager found out about it. She thought that Princess Mingzhu was loyal and devoted, so she buried Princess Mingzhu with an Yu in the same grave. Wei Lingxian, the legal wife, was very embarrassed. Princess Mingzhu, who went to the battlefield and had her whole family died, had an illicit relationship with a man during her filial period. After her death, she was known as a loyal, brave, and strong woman. It put a hypocritical hat on this beautiful love story that had no regard for human relations. An old man and a simple and beautiful woman hurt everyone's love. Wei Lingxian's husband didn't love her, and her children were unfilial. She was known as a jealous woman. After her death, she couldn't be buried with her husband because he already had another woman. Even though the two of them were dead, Wei Lingxian still felt like a joke. She lived in misery. She was a woman who had nothing. How enviable Wei Lingxian was in the past was how pitiful she was now. His daughter and son both sided with the concubine. Even his son's daughter-in-law, who had just married his son, helped Princess Mingzhu and asked her not to be so cruel to Mingzhu. Ning Shu was speechless. Well, this story can be summarized as follows. I was kind enough to take in my daughter's lonely and helpless best friend, but my daughter's best friend stole my man and seduced my son's heart, causing my family to be ruined and everyone to die. Chapter 379. This was a story of a hero saving a damsel in distress. And Yu was a hero to Princess Mingzhu. She would give herself to him for saving her life. Ning Shu thought, ha ha ha, Princess Mingzhu had a noble status, but she knelt down to others. She should live in the palace, but she chose to live in the home of an official. She put the burden of revitalizing King Yan's residence on the shoulders of a 7-year-old child, but she loved him all day long. There were also servants who didn't care about status. He had a premonition that true love was about to hit him. But when Ning Shu saw the original owner's wish, he was stunned. Because the original owner's wish was like this. Wei Lingxian's wish, there was no content at all. You have no requirements. How am I supposed to help you? 2333, what's wrong? Ning Shu asked 2333, what's with Wei Lingxian's wish? 2333 said, the original owner didn't even know what she should wish for. Her resentment couldn't be alleviated. She was filial to her mother-in-law and worked hard at home. She let an Yu, who was fighting outside, have nothing to worry about, not to mention the 2 children. But she had nothing left. No matter how good she was to her mother-in-law, she only had her son and grandson in her heart. In the end, she agreed to let Princess Mingzhu become a concubine. Not to mention her husband, who was in love with her for more than 10 years, almost 20 years. He didn't even have a concubine. I've lost everyone. What kind of wish can I have? There's nothing sadder than a dead heart. 2333 said, this is an intermediate task. The person who asked for it doesn't have any specific requirements. It's the most difficult task. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn it. She had no regrets for love. She was crazy for love. She didn't even recognize her own family when she was in love. This task was really annoying. Ning Shu scratched his head. There were some strands of hair on his hand. Every time an Yu went to war, the original owner would wait for him to come back uneasily. She was afraid that something would happen to an Yu on the battlefield. She had to pretend to be calm and take care of the general's residence. Ning Shu got up from the bed and looked in the bronze mirror. Wei Lingxian looked graceful and elegant. She was a dignified woman who knew when to advance and retreat. She was someone who could take care of her family well. In a feudal society, she was a woman who was qualified to be the matron of a clan. Previously, when an Yu refused to take in a concubine because of Wei Lingxian, all the noble ladies in the capital were extremely envious. Wei Lingxian also said that she wanted an Yu to take in a few concubines, but an Yu refused all of them. An Yu, a mighty general, was actually called henpecked, but Wei Lingxian felt sweet inside. She just didn't think that Yu would be so crazy as to fall in love with a woman who was the same age as her daughter. What was Wei Lingxian? Humans were different from animals. Humans had constraints and morals, responsibilities and morals. They relied on their biological instincts to do whatever they wanted. They were beasts. With a creak, the carved door opened, interrupting Ning Shu's thoughts. A delicate and pretty maidservant entered. She was about 17 or 18 years old. She looked very mature between her eyebrows, and her footsteps were light and unhurried. Seeing Ning Shu sitting in front of the bronze mirror, Zhu walked over with a smile. "Madam, you're up." Ning Shu nodded and said, "Help me wash up." Zhu helped Ning Shu wash up. She skillfully combed Ning Shu's hair and said, "Madam, you took a long nap this afternoon. It's time for dinner now. Old madam told me to wake you up." Ning Shu made a sound of acknowledgement and stood up. Zhu pulled down the fallen hair from the ivory comb and twisted it together, not wanting Ning Shu to see. "Zhu, am I getting old again?" Strictly speaking, Wei Lingxian was now a middle-aged woman. After all, her son was already 17 years old. Zhu smiled and said, "In Zhu's heart, Madam will always be the most beautiful." Ning Shu shook his head. A beautiful figure floated in like a butterfly. "Mother." And Lingyun reached out and held Ning Shu's hand. "Grandmother asked me to come and see what's wrong with you today." "Mother, are you okay?" Ning Shu looked at Lingyun. She was pretty and cute. When Princess Mingzhu entered the general's manor, they became good friends. When her mother was sad, Lingyun ran to Princess Mingzhu's courtyard. Even if she didn't comfort her mother, she shouldn't have gone to the courtyard that made her mother's heart ache. Everyone said that daughters were considerate, but in the end, everyone was moved by Princess Mingzhu's sincerity and blamed the original owner of this body for being vicious and jealous. And Lingyun noticed that Ning Shu was staring at her. His eyes were scrutinizing and indifferent. She shook Ning Shu's arm uneasily and asked, "Mother, what's wrong?" A smile appeared on Ning Shu's face. She was elegant and magnanimous as she said, "Mother is thinking about it again. Lingyun is already a big girl and should have a husband's family. Mother is thinking about what kind of husband's family to find for you." And Lingyun was a naive girl. She grew up in a harmonious family. She didn't realize that Princess Mingzhu had become her father's concubine and hurt her mother. It was not just a matter of adding a pair of chopsticks. Therefore, naive and innocent people hurt people the most. And Lingyun was like this, and so was Princess Mingzhu. When Lingyun heard that Ning Shu wanted to find a husband for her, she was a little shy. However, she said in a natural and unrestrained manner, "Lingyun wants to find a man like father, indomitable and indomitable, like father to mother, wholeheartedly devoted." Hearing this, Ning Shu didn't say anything. His body was filled with sadness and numbness. There was also fear. He feared the arrival of Princess Mingzhu, who was about to destroy everything. Even Ning Shu was affected by the sadness, hesitation, hatred, and pain that surged out of his body. Ever since his soul became stronger, he was rarely affected by the original owner's plot. But now, these emotions were overwhelming. His heart was in sharp pain. The pain made Ning Shu's body bend. He couldn't help but cover his chest. It felt like there were countless needles pricking his heart. The pain made the veins on Ning Shu's forehead bulge. The blood in his body was cold. So cold. Ning Shu staggered. And Lingyun supported Ning Shu. Seeing her mother's pale face and cold sweat, she anxiously said, "Mother, are you okay?" Zhu also came over to support Ning Shu. Ning Shu said weakly, "Help me sit on the bed." And Lingyun and Zhu helped Ning Shu sit on the bed. Ning Shu covered his chest and took deep breaths to calm his emotions. A cool feeling flowed into his heart, calming the pain and anxiety in his heart. Ning Shu knew that this was the effect of the calm aura that she had spent 150,000 points on. The original owner of the body had spent day after day with these emotions. How painful it must have been. Chapter 380. This strong emotion slowly faded away, but Ning Shu didn't have any strength left in his body. His entire body was covered in cold sweat. Ning Shu was still thinking about practicing the peerless martial arts so that this body would be even more powerful. "Mother, are you all right?" And Ling Yun looked at Ning Shu with a face full of worry and concern. She had never seen her mother like this before. And Ling Yun's heart was still very flustered when her pillar of support mother suddenly became like this. Ning Shu used a silk handkerchief to wipe the cold sweat on his face and said, "I'm fine. I'll rest for a bit. You and grandmother can eat dinner first. Go, mother wants to rest." In the end, Ling Yun left first, occasionally turning back to look at Ning Shu. Zhu squeezed out a handkerchief for Ning Shu and helped Ning Shu wipe his face. Ning Shu asked, "Madam, do you want me to call a doctor to take a look? This servant sees that madam's complexion doesn't look too good." Ning Shu shook his head. His heart was still faintly aching. After a while, the sound of footsteps could be heard from outside the room. Following that, a large group of people walked in. Walking at the front was an old woman holding a mahogany cane. She wore dark red clothes and a black embroidered headband on her head. In the middle of the headband was an emerald. She looked like a dignified and wealthy old woman. The one supporting the old woman was Ling Yun. Beside her was the tall and delicate Yu. "And you and Ling Yun." Ning Shu shouted, "Mother! Mother, grandmother has come to see you," and Ling Yun said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu saw that Madame Shen had come over. He held on to Zhu's hand and struggled to stand up. The old woman walked over with her cane and pressed down on Ning Shu. She said, "Don't get up. Your complexion doesn't look too good. Have you been working too hard recently?" Ning Shu took advantage of the situation to sit down. His expression was very respectful. His eyebrows were tinged with exhaustion as he said, "Many thanks for mother's concern. Your daughter-in-law does feel a bit tired." The old woman sat on a stool beside the bed and said, "I know you're worried about Yu. It's fine. This old woman isn't worried, so you don't have to worry. Yu is a person with good fortune." Ning Shu was speechless. "I'm afraid you'll be sending your child off." Ning Shu could only force out a smile and beckoned to Ling Yun. Ling Yun walked in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu held Ling Yun's hand and turned his head to speak to Chen Shi. "Mother, daughter-in-law's health hasn't been very good recently. Ling Yun is not young anymore and should be betrothed to someone else after the new year. Ling Yun should learn how to manage a household. Can I trouble Granny to teach Ling Yun?" Ning Shu was panting heavily as he spoke. His face was sallow, and his forehead was dripping with sweat. He looked especially haggard. Ling Yun and Yu felt uneasy in their hearts. "Mother, rest well. Little sister and I will definitely be fine," Yu hurriedly said. Ning Shu looked at Yu and his pupils shrank. Under Ling Yun's instigation, he confessed to Princess Mingzhu, but was rejected by Princess Mingyue. The original owner of the body called Yu in front of him and told her not to think about having any entanglements with Mingzhu. Mingzhu was a princess of the imperial family and they were not worthy of her. Yu was originally rejected by the woman who was as gentle as water, and then Wei Lingxian said this. Moreover, her own mother went to the palace to persuade the Empress Dowager to bestow a marriage to Princess Mingzhu. She actually hated the original owner of the body for obstructing her. To be hated by her own child, wasn't this cutting into Wei Lingxian's flesh? Ning Shu only smiled in the face of Yu's concern and looked at Chen Shi. Chen Shi put her hands on her walking stick and nodded, "All right, you rest well. I'll teach Ling Yun how to manage a household for the time being." Ning Shu struggled to get up. He opened the cabinet and placed the account book and the storehouse key on the table, saying, "I'll have to trouble Granny." Chen Shi made a sound of acknowledgement and had Lingyun take the account book and the key. Chen Shi stood up and the maidservant next to her immediately supported her. Chen Shi comforted Ning Shu with a few words and told him to rest well. She said that Yu was fine and that he shouldn't fall ill. Ning Shu only nodded. He was respectful and filial towards Chen Shi. And Lingyun held the account book and said to Ning Shu, "Mother, I'll bring you some food." Ning Shu smiled, "All right." When the group left the room, Ning Shu had Zhu close the door. "I'll sleep first. No one is to disturb me." Zhu nodded and closed the door. She stood guard at the door. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed. The original owner of the body took care of the entire general's household in an orderly manner. All the expenses and income were recorded. Every sum was given to Chen Shi for review. If there were any large expenses, Chen Shi would ask for instructions. Rather than saying that Wei Lingxian managed the general's household, it was better to say that the true authority of the household was in Chen Shi's hands. In Chen Shi's eyes, Wei Lingxian, this daughter-in-law, was transparent. Wei Lingxian had almost no selfish motives for the family. She attentively served and took care of her mother-in-law. Chen Shi was very satisfied with Wei Lingxian as a daughter-in-law. She didn't say anything when her son didn't take a concubine. Wei Lingxian respected and loved Chen Shi even more. And Yu often went to war. Wei Lingxian spent more time with her mother-in-law than her husband. They were family. But when it came to her son, Chen Shi gave up on Wei Lingxian. In fact, this was something that didn't need to be considered. Ning Shu didn't have the patience to tire himself out every day for the general's household. Everyone else was enjoying themselves. Everything was orderly. When they were hungry, they had food to eat. When they were thirsty, they had warm water. Every day, their clothes were clean and fragrant. This kind of environment was painstakingly created by the original owner of the body. In the end, these people all accused her of being vicious and crazy. When one was full and warm, one would think of lust. Everything could be solved by oneself. Ning Shu began to cultivate the ultimate martial arts, but he didn't achieve anything. However, with the calm halo, Ning Shu was less affected by the original owner's emotions. The original owner's resentment and sadness were very strong. Ning Shu could only sigh. When a person's heart wasn't with them, everything they did would be in vain. Ning Shu really didn't have a clue about this mission. Take revenge on Yu, Princess Mingzhu, and all the people who hurt Wei Lingxian. But the people who hurt Wei Lingxian were the people she loved the most. But if he didn't do anything, how was he going to complete this mission? Ning Shu realized that even if he became Wei Lingxian, he might not be able to do a better job than Wei Lingxian. No matter what he did, he had to deal with Princess Mingyu, this pure, beautiful, and true woman. Princess Mingyu was the prince's daughter and the emperor's niece. In this feudal society where the emperor's orders were greater than heaven, to deal with a princess of such high status, not only did he have to maintain his reputation as a virtuous person, but he also had to punish Princess Mingyu. It was a little difficult. The original owner of the body was a virtuous woman who supported the family. However, because of the incident with Princess Mingzhu, she was labeled as a vicious, jealous, tormented, and humiliated Princess Mingzhu. Princess Mingzhu's tolerance and kindness earned her the pity of everyone in the general's household. Ning Shu, he felt that this mission was really a pain in the ass. He had no direction at all. Moreover, Ning Shu couldn't tell what the original owner's attitude towards Yu was. Was it hate, love, or a mixture of love and hate? There was no hint. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.